I broke my back.
What do you mean by that?
My back is broken.
What do you mean, calm it down? It's a fight. Referees telling two fighters who want to fight to calm it down? He should calm down.
I saw he's like a clown in his show, man. He's not your guy.
Because Tyson Fury's back, and all you motherfuckers are under attack. Look, Eddie Hearn can say all what he likes. Who gives a shit what Eddie Hearn says? It's garbage.
Are you off your tits? Have you been smoking something?
Can you let me retire and be happy? Please, just please.
Bombs away from the Bronx Bomber!
Wanda! Let's go, baby! Let's go! I'm through. They put somebody else up and give me an interview.
What are you talking about? What are you talking about?
You never give me a fair shake. HBO needs to fire you. You don't know shit about boxing. You ain't shit. You're not shit.
I wish I was 50 years younger and I'd kick your ass.
I got dropped, man. No, you won the fight.
OMG, I am so excited.
Any of you radio personalities think you want smoke? Call me Mr. Chimney. I want smoke.
Yes. What is up? MCR family? Another daily edition of the show live on YouTube. And actually, we usually don't do Sunday shows, but we're doing one now. Because why? The whole fucking panel is here. Formed like Voltron. I put out the call. It was answered. Hey, once in a blue moon, we get all three of us on the show. I'm going to live it up. Even though Foo's been talking wild in the green room about some crazy shit. But anyways, digressing. We're going to talk all things boxing today. Joe Saunders signing with Eddie Hearn and Matchroom. Also review all the fights this weekend. Which, while not any real marquee notable fight, Vergil Ortiz I think really had a breakout performance in some ways. I think there was a lot of undercard, sort of hardcore topics we can talk about when it comes to these undercard fights in both the ESPN Plus card and the DAZN card. So we get to all of that. Munguia fight is announced. A lot of stuff. World Boxing Super Series lawsuit is seemingly ramping up, and it's just devolving into anarchy. But hey, that's what we're here for, to sort of break it all down for you. I'm Matt Tips Hunter, and of course joined as usual, or I should say not as usual, because we have the whole panel here, but as usual on boxing shows, Robbie Hearns, Mr. UK Rob, a.k.a. second cousin twice removed of Eddie Hearn. Rob, how you doing, man?
Yeah, doing good. Yeah, quite a lot to talk about. Like you say, maybe not any sort of big fights, but some good performances this weekend, and some not so good performances from people who were expected to. But and also Manny Robles saying they'd be happy to fight in the UK. So what the fuck's going on? No idea. But yeah, Fu, how you doing, man? The hairy one.
I'm good. Did they actually say the UK? Because he specifically said New York again, or Saudi Arabia, or neutral ground, but I don't remember hearing the UK.
He said Wales. He said Wales.
He said Wales. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I thought he was ducking that whole part of it, trying to just keep the troll alive. But looks like Ruiz came out on IG. Well, Ruiz came out on IG and said something about they fight anywhere. He's not afraid of anyone, blah, blah, blah. So most likely we're going to Saudi Arabia. Home of
okay, guys, we have a range of topics to get to, and that's like the third one. So we're going to get to that. Okay? I know that you, Eddie Hearn,
you're the captain now.
You Matchroom zombies over there just want to talk about how Manny Robles said this when he's not involved in any of the negotiations or contract dealings with this fight. Digressing, though, let's talk about, because he isn't. Let's just be honest. What?
It's the trainer of the fighter that's been saying, I'm not going to the UK.
Yeah, trainers aren't involved in contract negotiations automatically. What are you talking about?
Trainer didn't even know he was
the same hymn sheet,
dirty.
right? They'd be singing off the same hymn sheet, right?
Dude. Okay, let's just get into it, because obviously you guys care about... No, you two do, because you two started talking about this topic a lot already. So let's just jump into it, okay? Andy Ruiz's trainer, let's just go through it to give people exactly what sort of table the discussion at least, right? Or set the table. It was per a Fight Hype interview.
Per Aaron Cantu of Fight Hype.
Oh, Cantu was with Fight Hype. Good for him, man.
Wow.
Andy Ruiz's trainer, Manny Robles. You haven't heard anything from Andy Ruiz, and there's a reason why. You got the promoter going out on a limb saying we're fighting December 7th in Saudi, but you haven't heard anything from Andy. Everybody has to hold off and wait. Now, Rob, of course, did not send me a clip of that part of the interview. He sent me a clip of a different part of the interview, which I will play right now as I pull it up. Rob, talk for a second because I don't have it up actually.
Yeah, obviously hit that thumbs up, share the show. The great production quality that we've got. It's in the one-on-one. Went
to the wrong chat. See, that's where I messed up.
It's in the wrong chat. It's in the exactly
The
right.
prospect of fighting in Saudi Arabia, does that excite you at least?
It does. I mean, you know what? At the end of the day, we're willing to fight any place, anywhere. That's what a true champion does. You know what I mean? If we got to go to Wales or England, in this case, Saudi Arabia, back to New York, we got to do what we got to do.
Again, let's just talk. Like, hey, we're gonna do anything. We're gonna fight anywhere, anytime. We're fighters. And plus, having interviewed Manny Robles, which you can go check out on our YouTube channel, he said outright, like, I'm not involved in the contract negotiations. Like, he said that in our interview. So when it comes to what is happening right now with Andy Ruiz and where this location is, I think Manny Robles, honestly, is like one of the people that's in this situation, but really isn't. So what he is saying is just going to be trainer talk. Like, yeah, we're fight anywhere. We're gonna be ready. We're be prepared. Oh, you haven't heard anything yet? Yeah, wait for Andy. He'll say something.
I think for trainers,
it just means nothing.
It's just annoying to get that question all the time because he just wants his fighter to be ready for wherever the fight is, right? Like, he doesn't necessarily care about all of the bullshit. Where's it going to take place and all that? But Ruiz did come out. I thought this was really funny. He came out in a picture in front of his, I guess, brand new Bentley. Damn, man. Red panty night money. Like, fighting AJ in front of his Bentley saying he'll fight anywhere. Ready for anything that comes my way. You can't scare me with a good time. They're going to be fighting in Saudi Arabia, right? Like, we all know that. They're just trying to get more money.
Again, obviously I did the video, was it yesterday, right? Talking about the little clip about Andy Ruiz refusing to go to Saudi Arabia. And literally, like, the first comment was, like, super racist and, like, I hope he gets sued and is bankrupt for life. And it's like, you guys need to relax. Okay? Like, you fans out, not you, and I'm talking you guys. Okay. Like, you, like, real hardcore fanboys out there, you need to relax, okay? This fight's going to happen. Andy Ruiz is clearly trying to get a few more million, and he's probably going to successfully do that, okay? Regardless of what's in the contract. Because that's kind of how leveraging works.
Yeah.
Okay? Because Eddie Hearn and Matchroom are far more likely just to give him a few more million than go through the process of going through the legal route. That's going to take up, a 6-month, 9-month, year period? Hold up their fighter, hold up that fighter. Cost maybe even more money. So, guys, it's okay. Like, Andy Ruiz, I think, has turned into one of the better trolls in boxing. Right? Like, he's not obviously a Fury level troll because that's like a different degree of trolling. But Andy Ruiz is one of those guys, like, he's that friend in the friend group that's really quiet, but whenever he says anything, it's funny. Right? And whenever he says anything, he's kind of ribbing on you, but he's usually quiet.
So, like, foo.
I don't know if it's like you. You have to say something that's funny first. Andy Ruiz. Oh, I know, right? Hold on, shots fired.
Oh. Yeah.
Hey, thanks.
But digressing, I think Ruiz is going to be fighting Joshua in Saudi Arabia, and I think the reaction from the Matchroom zealots needs to be toned down because you guys are literally wishing for somebody to be bankrupt, which is weird.
The lead up will be like a public beheading, and then it goes right into the normal programming at Saudi Arabia, right? So, I mean,
well, that is normal programming.
Yeah, it'd be great. Hearn with Hearn.
Rob, you have been eerily quiet on this topic, so
No, I don't know. Saying I hope the guy goes bankrupt. I think you led with racist comment. That's not a racist comment, is it?
I didn't say
No,
that
he
was a
did say
racist
something
comment.
about he hopes he gets the
dirty beaner. Yeah, the guy. If some UK guy says that, I hope that dirty beaner gets beat up and goes bankrupt.
I didn't see that bit. I didn't see that bit.
Yeah, that's a racist comment, Rob.
Oh, okay. No, I get that. You just
I just didn't want to quote it.
I think we're trying to leave that part out.
Yeah.
Yeah, but allow the context to back up the statement, I would say.
Well, I said he said a racist comment and said he hopes he gets bankrupt. There's an and there,
I didn't hear
Rob.
that and.
Yeah.
I thought you said like.
Apparently, Donald Trump is a fan of the show. Anyway. He watches quite often. Leaves comments sometimes.
Yeah. Anyway, all I was saying is you'd think Manny Robles, as in his trainer, just would be singing off the same hymn sheet. That was all. That my fighter's been saying I'm not going to the UK, then he wouldn't say, yeah, we'll go to the Wales, we'll go to, off a lot of it off reaction to off the back of the Dillian White thing. That was when Ruiz initially triggered that night and said, what the hell's going on? It's a setup, fuck going over there. And then he told Rogan he's not going to the UK. And then your trainer's saying, yeah, we'll go to Wales, we'll go to England. And just saying, it's just slightly contradictory of this someone off the same hymn sheet. That's
well, when you're not involved in the negotiations, you're not going to be singing off the same hymn sheet.
Also, when the fight's already taken place somewhere else, because there's a lot of money, you can say like, "Oh, we'll go to Wales
anywhere
and fight."
He literally
we'll go anywhere.
I see why you can't see that just looks dumb.
It doesn't. It doesn't look anything to me. I don't care. It's literally an immaterial, irrelevant comment to me, Rob, because it's from a guy that's not involved in the negotiations. If this was Rob McCracken, who is the manager of AJ, as well as a trainer, then it's different. This isn't his manager. This is his trainer who's not involved in the negotiations, saying we'll fight anywhere. That's promoter talk. That's trainer talk. That's literally saying like, I can fight anywhere, anytime. No, you won't. No fighter really means that. So no, this doesn't matter to me, Rob. It really doesn't. This is an immaterial thing.
It particularly mattered to me. I just thought it was something to talk about. But again, you just go with this whole Matchroom fanboy stuff, and you think it's absolutely nothing to do with anything. Who cares? So it just makes me look.
Well, your entire point is that but this is kind of dumb. Okay, yeah, cool. It is. Cool. But it's immaterial. Right. That's my point. Like this doesn't reflect the current negotiations. This doesn't reflect what's going on between Ruiz and Joshua in any way. It doesn't. It's a trainer that said we're fighting anywhere. Right? It's immaterial. It's maybe dumb, in your opinion, but it's immaterial to the negotiations. Do you think this has any reflection of the current negotiations right now?
I didn't say it had anything to do with
I didn't say you did. I didn't say you did. I'm asking you the question, Rob.
The trainer of the fighter in question, the fighter that said, I ain't going to the UK. I am not going to the UK. You wouldn't think his trainer would come out and say,
I get your point.
We'll fight in the UK.
I get your point. I'm asking you a question.
Why are we having an argument about it?
Can you answer the question, Rob? Is this material to the negotiations? What Manny Robles is saying?
Does it need to be? I'm bringing it up on the show. Does it need to be material?
Rob, I'm asking you a question. Can you say yes or no? I'm not saying that's what you're saying. I'm not putting words into your mouth. I'm asking you a question to further understand what else you think about this subject. If you don't want to tell me yes or no, then that's fine.
I don't think it has much to do with it.
Cool.
It's a contradictory statement from people within the same camp. That's it. I just thought maybe I'd send it because it might be a topic for the show. I'm not out here tweeting about it, going crazy that Manny Robles is this and
I didn't say you were.
Right, so why is it a big deal? Why is it?
I'm saying it's not a big deal. I'm saying it's not a big deal, Rob. Okay, that's all I'm saying. And you're saying it's dumb, and there are other people that might say it is a big deal. That might take your point like, oh, it's contradicting what Team AJ said, and then they will spin on that, Rob. Okay, we will have listeners that hear that and go in the comment section, and I guarantee will say, yeah. You know, if Robles is saying it, then yeah, to go back to the UK. Eddie, fucking sue him. Send this fight back to Cardiff. Which is a stupid fucking point, because guess what? This is an immaterial quote. It may be a dumb quote because it's contradicting to his fighter, but it's, again, immaterial. There is no real consequence from this quote. There's no real reflection on the actual negotiation. Why? Because He's not in the negotiation room. That's what I'm saying. So when people will freak out about even the first quote, right, about how he's saying, oh, you have to wait till Andy says something. You have to wait till all this stuff. Everyone's saying stuff. Like, that's even immaterial. Like, that doesn't matter. It doesn't. Because, like, his voice in this story is the least relevant one. And when we're talking about, at the end of the day, all the people involved in this fight, he is the least relevant person we should be talking about because he's not involved there. Rob McCracken's far more important than Manny Robles in terms of what he's going to say about the negotiations because he's a manager. He's involved in the negotiations. So my point maybe is not directed at you, Rob. You may think it is. My point's not. My point's directed at people that may be listening to this, that may be seeing this, and spin it out in a completely different direction. Make it a big deal when it's not.
I think that that Matt's frustration is more with the entirety of the group that is anti-Andy Ruiz for trying to do his best to get what he deserves out of the second fight. It's a struggle because none of us know what's in the contract, you know, and when you sign a contract and you've got a rematch clause, you can't win and then the rematch clause gets triggered and then you're like, oh, well, now I want all this extra money. It's like you already signed a contract. So I get the frustration from people, but at the same time, when has this not happened? I don't know. It seems pretty par for the course, like especially now. There's so much money at stake. And, you know, a lot of that information just comes out so freely when they say they got $100 million site fee. It's like, well, that doesn't include much else. And now you're telling a fighter he's going to get $9 million of $100 million just site fee. That's an issue. So I think the larger point is that the anti-Ruiz speak that's kind of happened.
And not even
AJ is
sorry not to cut off, but not even like
a little annoying.
If you want to say like, oh, you know, come on, Andy, like it's in the contract, that's fine. But I'm talking about the extreme stuff, and unfortunately, the extreme stuff is what I'm seeing. Like, go back in that last video and look at the comment section. And unfortunately, some of you guys can't see what I've had to delete. That's been outright xenophobic and racist, and that has just been, and that's what I'm talking to, Rob. I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to that section of the fan base. Who is very vocal. Rob,
like I think there is a point there that you expect camps to stay in line with each other, even if you are just a trainer. Like, you know, if you're getting interviewed, usually the talking points are pretty lined up, you know, and so it is a little weird to say we would go to the UK, but I think he says it just because they already know where the fight is. I legitimately think Saudi Arabia is already decided on, and the fact of the matter is that he can say whatever because that's saving face for his fighter. It's like, we'll go anywhere. We'll fight in the UK. We never said we wouldn't fight in the UK. You can say whatever at this point because you know it's not going to be there. Like, what does it matter? You know? It's like going, oh, I would never vote yes on this piece of legislation. And then that piece of legislation comes up and you just absentee vote or you just abstain from voting. And then you go, no, I never voted for that. I told you I wouldn't vote for that. It's like, well, you just said present basically and didn't vote yes or no. But yeah, I mean, you still like, it's like there's ways to politically work the system to make your fighter look good. And I think that's all Robles is doing here. And I think Ruiz is going to start doing it too now, where he's like, I'd have fought in the UK. No problem. I'll fight anyone anywhere.
Yep. You're definitely going to do
that. And that's just done then.
I understand.
But dude, like
dumb,
that's the fight game. That's how
he's
fighters.
Not speaking to you though. He's not speaking to fans that don't like him. He's speaking to his base, right? That's what people do. Like his base will eat that up. And I knew he would have fought.
Got a base that like him, but the rest of the world comments on what an idiot he is.
Dude, so. This is fight promotion. Hold on. This is fight promotion. Fighter A is going to say, I'm the toughest badass, and you're trash. And fighter B is going to say, no, I'm the toughest badass, and you're trash. And it just works off of that. Same thing with, I will fight anywhere and anytime. I signed the contract, you didn't. It's going to go back and forth that. And you're going. I guarantee you're going to hear AJ go, you didn't want to fight in the UK. And you're going to hear Andy say, you didn't want to fight in the US. You're scared to go back there. You want to go chase the money in Saudi Arabia. All of that just fucking promotion bullshit talk. Like that's why it doesn't matter.
A prime point would be that AJ came out and said, I'll fight him in Mexico with his uncle as the referee or something, right? And I'll still beat him. And then 2 seconds later in that same interview said, but I'm working to make sure it's in the UK, right? It's like...
But he also said it would be a neutral. So he said like 3 different things.
Exactly. And I think that's just a matter of how fighters talk.
I know. We've talked about that already. So let's just bring in what we're talking about now up. That's all. I don't know what the big deal is.
Which I totally get your point that it makes you look stupid, but people pander to their base, not people they're trying to win over. And his base is going to eat it up. They're going to be like, oh yeah, he'll eat it. Just like if you're from the UK and Joshua says, I'll fight him in Mexico with his uncle as a referee, you can be like, yeah, that's because AJ's the fucking man. He's a boss. Yeah, he'd do whatever.
It's a level 2 security.
Yeah, that was really stupid of AJ to do that because obviously they never wanted to fight in Mexico. How stupid of him. Was he on the same page to his own team?
Well, maybe he realized it's a level 2 security.
No, or maybe he's just talking in an interview, Rob, and he's just talking that shit. I know you are, but I'm not talking to you, Rob. You should know that by now.
You just said Rob.
Yeah, but you should know.
Or maybe Rob.
You should know by now, Rob, that you represent a large audience within our audience, right? You represent a large portion of that. So I may say things at you, but it may not be to you, if that makes sense. Because your fans. Yeah, it's to your fans, your listeners, the Hearn's fans, okay, that have been a fan of that family for a very long time. Okay, it's okay. But you represent them on this show at times. So therefore,
you talking to me now?
Well, right now I'm talking to you.
Oh, okay. Sorry, it's just you said Rob again, and this time you meant me.
Fuck off, you wanker. Okay. Anyways, digressing. What was I going to say? I was going to say something really smart, and I forgot. Damn it, Rob.
That's my whole game.
As soon as you said you were going to say something really smart.
Shut up, fool. Okay, you've been missing from 30 feet out all show, okay? you're like Brad with the jokes over here. Just airballing it, man.
Brad.
I did a pretty good job of bringing us all back together.
You made great points. No, you made great points. I forget what I was going to say. I apologize.
Mission accomplished.
Fuck off. I'll just say this. Rob, you're a fanboy. Moving on, though.
Right back at you.
But still on Eddie Hearn and Matchroom, so it's okay, Rob. Keep that flag out. Keep that flag high. They tweeted out really early in the morning over here. New signing announced Tuesday with a little emoji, a blacked out figure in the back. We don't know who it is. And then obviously Dan Rayfield came out like an hour later and was like, hey, guys, it's Billy Joe Saunders. Spoiler. So it looks like Billy Joe Saunders is signing to Eddie Hearn and Matchroom, and on top of that, the Callum Smith fight is looking like it's going to be lined up in some fashion for unification. Guys, thoughts on this? Rob, I'll go to you because you're a UK guy. This is a UK move, from one UK promoter to another. What do you think about it?
I think it's the best thing for Billy Joe Saunders. I don't know how much further Warren could have. I don't know. Warren just couldn't seem to land him that big fight. And with Eddie Hearn and Matchroom and DAZN, those options are, I would say, a lot more realistic for big fights. Does Canelo take a Billy Joe Saunders on DAZN? Probably not. Or it could probably get more seriously talked about.
It's closer. It's closer to being a possibility.
Triple G. Because let's face it, if Canelo and Triple G aren't going to face each other, who's Triple G got to fight, maybe? There's not big fights out there that are going to keep people from, saying, oh, Triple G's ducking this guy or Canelo's not fighting that guy. There's not enough names. So Billy Joe Saunders is a name, maybe not a huge American name, but it's a boxing, like hardcores definitely know. Many hardcores believe Billy Joe Saunders is a tough night for Canelo with his movement, and I think that's always been the belief, just like Andrade would be a difficult style matchup for Canelo. So in that regard, I think it's the right move, but I'll be interested to see if it is going to be staying at 168. I guess as he is a current champion, that might be the way, but if he can get a Canelo or a Triple G, I'm sure he would go back to 160 for that, but just like most fighters would.
I'll even take an Andrade fight. But Fu, a question to you. Rob obviously said that Matchroom was the best move, and largely in part due to not really. Rob, you really didn't say this, but this is sort of what you inferred, that like Matchroom's connection to DAZN and that stable, just under the DAZN network, is the plus, more so than just Matchroom. Though obviously Matchroom is an improvement from Frank Warren and BT. It is, but more so the connections over at DAZN and the names over at DAZN far extend Matchroom stable, and they are around that weight range. Then there are big lucrative fights. Canelo, Triple G being two names you mentioned. But obviously, Leonard LOB came out on Twitter and said something stupid about how, like, oh, this is a bad move because it's off TV. When, honestly, most fights are off TV and most fights are behind a giant paywall. So, like, that doesn't mean much to me.
He also said all the work at 68 is on PBC.
But not all the work, but there is significant amount of work at 168 at PBC.
Three of the bigger names.
Right? All the work.
Yeah, I know. Again, I said not all the work, but most of the top fighters at 168 are PBC fighters. Mm-hmm. If Billy Joe Saunders is staying at 168 under that paradigm, under that sort of hypothetical, is Matchroom and DAZN the right move, or would be a PBC move and fighting Caleb Plant, David Benavidez, would those names be more, maybe more lucrative options than a Callum Smith, but perhaps better fights, more intriguing fights, just, again, more options overall at 168? Would PBC be the better move for Billy Joe Saunders? Again, under the paradigm if he stays at 168 and doesn't go down to 160 to try to fight Canelo and Triple G and the likes.
Well, I think if you could say that PBC has maybe a history of making those major matchups happen, but they don't. I mean, they don't have a history, to me,
of making
what do you mean? Look at Tank Davis. Where's the unifications? Look at at 147. Where's the unifications?
Bro. Well, dude, what do you mean?
In my mind, I don't think that they would put him in there with Caleb Plant.
Hold on, stop for a second. You literally just said, where are the unifications at 147 when we just had one last month and another one next month for PBC? What the fuck are you talking about?
Okay.
You brought Gervonta Davis. We have Keith Thurman, Manny Pacquiao. Keith Thurman versus Danny Garcia. Keith Thurman versus Sean Porter. Sean Porter versus Earl Spence. So 147, no, you can't even argue that. That was stupid of you.
Now.
No. I mentioned two that happened the last 5 years, bro. Danny Garcia, Keith Thurman, Sean Porter, Keith Thurman.
And how many belts have they had for how long? There's not a consistent record of those where I'm going to say that Eddie Hearn has shown a consistent ability to put belt holders against belt holders and in major fights.
Mention them. Cited them. Because you cited two divisions, or I should say one division and one name, and you're only right on one name, in Gervonta Davis.
The Daniel Roman fight. There's Danny Jacobs has already gotten a big fight. He got Callum Smith big fights.
That's not unification.
He put Canelo in with one of his weaker
Eddie
fighters.
doesn't have Canelo.
No, but he got the Canelo fight for one of his
lesser
name people.
Okay,
so
wait, hold on. Stop, Fu. You're telling me that Canelo fighting Rocky Fielding is a big fight? Fu, I'm done with you right now. No.
It's a big fight.
But it's not a unification. You talked down on Spence Porter and Manny Pacquiao, Keith Thurman. You talked directly down on that, but then bigged up Canelo versus Rocky Fielding and gave credit for Eddie for that? What are you talking about? How does that make logical sense, Fu? Walk me through that. Hold on, Rob. Walk me through that, Fu, please.
This is important. What one did we have last month?
Last month being Pacquiao Thurman.
We're unifying the regular and the
it wasn't.
Okay, fine. It wasn't a unifier. Or was it a big fight? Was it not?
But there's big fights on the other side that will most.
You mentioned one
happen.
That's Canelo Rocky Fielding. What are you talking about?
Fight for Rocky Fielding.
We're moving on because you're not even addressing that issue. You're not addressing the point. Back up that point. How is Manny Pacquiao? Hold on. You're not. I'm going to address the question again. I'm going to rephrase it for you, and please answer it directly. How is Manny Pacquiao, Keith Thurman, and Sean Porter versus Earl Spence not big fights, but Rocky Fielding versus Canelo is. Explain that one for me, please.
I never said they're not big fights. I said there has not been you can't tell a guy, come sign with us, and we're going to make these unification
Bro,
fights
hold on.
for
Stop. You said, you brought up that point, right, about consistency. There hasn't been this long history of it. You brought up 3 fights that happened within the last 6 months, and one of them isn't a Eddie Hearn A-side fight. It's Canelo versus Rocky Fielding. That's not a big fight. You brought up Daniel Roman, TJ Doheny, and Daniel Jacobs versus Canelo. Again, another Canelo fight. 2 fights that happened in the last 6 months. Where's the consistency? Go back in time. I went back in time years. You went back 6 months. Where's the consistency?
My point being, one, I was trying to be very fair to the PBC side of it, that if he could get all those fights, that's a better signing.
Again,
will he get those fights?
I brought up examples of unifications and big fights that happened in PBC.
Are they going to put Plant against Benavidez?
That's what they've been talking about. What do you mean?
They've been talking about it.
Tim Smith has talked about it. What do you mean? Talked about it for a long time. They've just got back. Dave Benavidez just got back from his drug suspension, bro.
I'm just
saying,
he's fighting for a
title.
The talking point for a long time has been that there has not been unifications. We have had this discussion.
It's a talking point. Again,
in a chat.
It's a talking point. I am bringing up cited examples of unifications and big fights. You brought up Canelo, Rocky Fielding.
Here's another big point to make. There are other fighters in these weight classes that I know that Eddie Hearn will work across the table to make fights with. So what I'm saying is I absolutely want to see Billy Joe Saunders in all of the best matchups. And so it's a good signing. The PBC signing would be better because you'd want to see him against Benavidez. You'd want to see him against Plant, especially Plant versus Billy Joe Saunders is a great fight. You shake your head. You get so mad.
Dude, that was such a stupid point from you, Fu. Like, you are a very smart person, and that was a very dumb point.
I don't think it is, and I think a lot of people agree with
me. Fu.
There's
no. Fu. It's not about being a sophist here. Okay, I brought up cited examples of big fights and unifications. You brought up 3. One's not a big fight or unification. Okay, and 2 of them happened within the last 6 months. I brought up examples from ranging for the last 5 years for PBC.
And you brought up 2 in 5 years.
I brought up big fights and unifications over the last 5 years. I brought up more than 2. What are you talking about?
What did you do?
3? You said the 140
was a WBA regular.
I said big fights and unifications. Okay? Or should I say or? Should I say and/or unifications?
What were your examples?
Keith Thurman, Danny Garcia. Keith Thurman, Sean Porter. Those happened over 3 or 4 years ago.
Keith Thurman, Danny Garcia was for what?
A unification. It was WBC and WBA Super Belt. Okay.
And then
Manny Pacquiao, Keith Thurman. Big fight. Was it not?
The
two top 5 guys in the division. Sean Porter versus Earl Spence happening next month. And you had the audacity to say that 147 doesn't have unifications or big fights on the PBC?
That's 3. You said 3 in 5 years, Matt. I gave you 3 fights in less than a year that Eddie Hearn has been a part of.
No.
That were big fights.
Throw out Canelo, Rocky Fielding. For the love of fucking God. If you bring up that fight one more time, Fu, I swear to God, I'll just jump you out of the call. I don't need you on the show.
I got other shit to do anyway.
Bro, are you really going to equate Canelo, Rocky Fielding to Daniel Jacobs, Canelo?
If I'm going
or
to
Daniel Roman,
sign with
TJ Doheny,
someone, I would absolutely look at that fight.
That's not what we're talking about. That's not what we're talking about anymore. We're talking about big fights and unifications. That is purely what we are talking about.
Because you have now reframed the argument.
I did, and I stated that a while ago. I reframed the argument.
Okay, then let's withdraw that then. That's fine.
Because I understand your point about Billy Joe Saunders signing to Eddie. I've already agreed to that. That Eddie and the DAZN umbrella, I've already agreed that Eddie and the DAZN umbrella produces so many options for Billy Joe Saunders. Of course, it's the best signing.
Okay.
However, you had the audacity to say that PBC doesn't do big fights and unifications and Eddie does. You brought up
hold on. Big fights.
Yes, you did.
You're putting words in my mouth. I never said big fights.
You did say big fights.
I said if he could get those fights, guaranteed that's a better signing for him because those are great fights.
Okay, and again, let's just say unifications, let's say, okay? You wanted to cite examples. You brought up Gervonta Davis, and you said the 147-pound division. That's when I stopped the conversation and reframe the conversation. Okay? Because you said the 147-pound division doesn't have unifications.
How
and
long
it does.
has Spence wanted to fight Thurman? How long has
Thurman has been fighting? What do you mean? Thurman has been fighting. He just got back this year and had a big fight with Pacquiao and lost.
I'm pretty sure Spence wanted to fight Thurman before he got injured. I'm just saying.
Wait, Spence wanted to fight Thurman before he got injured?
He was calling him out.
He did, but Thurman wasn't fighting. He fought Danny Garcia and unified. Keith Thurman had unified Danny Garcia and had been gone for 2 years, 2+ years, and fought twice this year, twice in 6 months. Again, moving on, because like the audacity to say that PBC hasn't had unifications at 147 is just asinine. It is. It's not true. They haven't had unifications with Terrence Crawford. Hold on. It's not 1 in 5 years. It's not.
You listed 1 in 5 years.
Dude, there's 1 next month. What are you fucking saying?
That's 2 in 5 years.
We're moving on. We're moving on because like that is absurd that you're saying something this stupid. It is. Anyways, fights this weekend. Vergil Ortiz versus Antonio Roscoe. Rob, you have anything to say? Look like something to say.
Joshua Parker, Joshua Klitschko.
Joshua Klitschko wasn't unification.
It's a big fight. It's
the
biggest one.
But Fu wanted to digress the conversation or bring back the parameters to just unifications.
Joshua Parker, 78,000 people.
Big fight. That was a big fight. Yep, that's 1. 1 in 5 years. Moving on. Vergil Ortiz, Antonio Roscoe.
All level then.
No, because like we're just moving on. Because Fu is on his Matchroom game.
My point is, I'm not on my Matchroom game.
You are, man. It's fine.
I don't know why you get so defensive about that. I was making a point on both sides for Billy Joe Saunders because we're speaking about the signing from what I would assume is Billy Joe Saunders' point of view.
Fu, I started the question with you. If he stays at 168, what's the best signing? You said, well, PBC would make sense, but they don't do unifications. And you cited examples. I then had issues with your cited examples. Moving on. Because I've agreed with you that the other, taking away 168 and he goes to 160 or fights Triple G or Canelo, which aren't unifications, those are massive fights. So, of course, that matters and probably outweighs PBC. Of course. I've already stated numerous times that I agree with you on that. That's not our issue of contention here at all.
I'm just glad I was right.
You're right on that. But Rob was right on that before you. Anyways, you just copy what he said. Vergil Ortiz versus Antonio Orozco was a fantastic fight. I got to say, first off, Fu, I'm now mad at you for not going to this fight even more now. Even though I'm not really mad at you for that. I'm mad at you for just being a Matchroom zombie. Because, damn, I really wanted some content from this fight. I really wanted an interview of Vergil Ortiz because that guy, this seemed like a breakout performance in a way. I don't know what that means in this current paradigm of streaming and him being a 21-year-old prospect without Oscar even being there, right? Like, I don't know how much of a breakout it could be, but it felt like that, right? It felt like something massive. It felt like Vergil Ortiz, I think, met expectations and then blew past them. Fu, you seem like you want to jump into this.
Well, Andy had a lot of really, to me, big names come out and really praise him online. And really, like we talked about this earlier in our little group chat, that there was a lot of support on this side in the United States for what he's doing and how good he looks at this point in his career, right? So I think you're right. I think this was a breakout performance. He showed a lot of levels. He manages distance really well, is one thing I really like. And then it's always good to see when somebody has someone hurt, how well they can finish, especially someone who's, I mean, I get it. Like the guy was coming up one weight class, but at the same time, when he got hurt, he put him down. Like he finished the fight. So, and he's measured. It seems like he does load up a lot. I think Rob is right about that at one point, but overall, I think he shows he's going to have what it takes to really be a competitor in this weight class. So I hope you're right with the next step up fight. But what I was going to tell you is I think I would rather go to his gym or try to see him somewhere where we for sure could get like maybe more of like a sit down. I don't know. The fights are cool, but I didn't know how packed this would be, and then we've had a few instances where
neither event this weekend looked packed, unfortunately.
Yeah,
in America.
But I just feel like we went to the one, we got Robbie to the one, and it was like everyone just bailed after their fights, and I think maybe getting into gyms like when they're training might be a little bit better. So I'm going to look at when he's around or whatever and see kind of where he's at, where he trains, and try to head out there.
Anyways, to the fight itself, Rob, I know you haven't seen all of the fight, right? Or no, did you see?
No,
you saw this one, right? Oh, you saw this one.
Yeah.
You weren't as, I think, sold on sort of him having this great performance as maybe I was.
I just don't see it. Watching it, when I watched it, I just didn't think, wow, this is a breakout moment for Vergil Ortiz. I wasn't like, this is the moment he becomes a star, or this. I just didn't feel it was that big. But seeing the reaction on Twitter, it seems to have made everybody. I was already like, I like him, but I just didn't see this as this like huge breakout performance. That was all. But because I think the kid was going to get up again. The referee did the right thing stopping it, but he hurt him numerous times. I feel like Fu mentioned, I feel he loads up a lot of his shots are, but I'm not saying that's a bad thing because he's exciting to watch. You think at any minute he's going to land one of these and it's going to be horrible. But yeah, I'm just not massive as blown away. I really like him. I think it was a great performance, but I'm just not like fully hype trained up. Like Manic said, he's the best prospect in boxing right now, and I don't know. There's just something missing for me at the moment. But I'm definitely looking forward to his next fight. So that's always a good sign, right?
Agreed. I absolutely agree. One thing I will sort of note on some in-ring stuff I saw, the accuracy of Ortiz. God, every shot seemed like it was just laser precision. And on top of that, the power with each shot combined with that accuracy was just this like deadly combination in the ring. Like every time he decided to throw a combination, it seemed like everything was landing and everything was kind of hurting Orozco. And that was kind of shocking. I didn't expect his shots to have that much of an effect on Antonio Orozco, who went a good 12-round war with Jose Ramirez, right? Like really went to war with him, right? And you can clearly see that Ortiz, who is a bigger guy than Ramirez, natural 147-pounder, that power is something. Like that power is maybe not a one-punch hitter-and-quitter power, but it is fight-changing power, absolutely. And on top of that,
it has been one-punch KO power,
yes.
But as you go up the levels, sometimes these stoppages don't come with one punch. You find the dudes are tougher and they hit you back a bit harder than you're used to and stuff.
Absolutely. I think he would have a sort of a similar trajectory, maybe like a Keith Thurman, where like Keith Thurman was blowing past guys, and then he reached a level, and he kind of had to rely on his boxing ability more and more. And I think Ortiz is going to have to do that. But luckily, Ortiz has that boxing ability because as the fight wore on, and Orozco was hanging in there at times, honestly, kind of has some moments in like the third and fourth round where he pushed Ortiz along the ropes and was able to unload some combinations. Ortiz had to show some defensive ability that he hasn't shown yet, and that was kind of impressive. His head movement at times was quite elusive. It may not be completely flashy, but it was completely effective. Though I will say there wasn't a clear fluidity from offense to defense with them. Like he was either going forward in offensive mode, trying to break you down, or in defensive mode, jabbing a lot. And there wasn't a clear sort of transition from that. He was either in one mode or the other, but hopefully as time wears on, he can sort of blend those two together and become more of a harder fight to deal with. But guys, anything you guys saw in the ring from Ortiz that popped out, any sort of in-ring stuff from the action, and then we'll sort of talk about where he ranks in terms of U.S. prospects. Fu, Rob, anyone?
I mean, the big thing that I saw was when the first 4 rounds, he was kind of obviously he was in there with a different level of competition than he's ever been in there with. You could see when he started to make adjustments, and when he really started to focus on defense, he was able to consistently be out of range and throw Orozco kind of off of his game. And then you could really see when the power of Ortiz like broke Orozco. That was really cool to me, because you could see like at that point, like it was one uppercut, I think. And then he kind of took a knee. And at that point you knew like, oh man, like now it's kind of like he has great power. And as he gets to the top level guys, the accumulation as well, because he is such a precise puncher and he doesn't really waste punches. He's going to overwhelm a lot of these guys in terms of that, like not the one hitter quitter, but being able to be good defensively, having that range that he has, like the ability to be able to find that range really well and work from there. He works pretty well off the ropes too, I think, especially for being kind of younger. So I think he's going to be very, very hard to beat as he gets more experience under his belt with these top guys. Because it's like we said with Spence. Spence was a come forward, beat everyone up fighter until he had to show that he had different levels, right? Against Mikey, who's not really the test you'd want him to be in there against, but Mikey's a great boxer, you know? So I think every time a guy steps in with someone that's a level higher than the competition before, you get to see kind of new wrinkles in the game. And like he showed those.
Absolutely agree. I mean, I am much more sold on him being a legit contender at 147 than ever before, though I do want to see him fight a legit 147-pounder next. Brief mention of this. I think I talked about it on sort of the post-reaction little video, but 3 names I think he could fight next, even at this sort of early stage in his career, and would all 3 line him up for even bigger, better things. Obviously, within his own sort of DAZN umbrella, 147 isn't that deep, but Kell Brook, Jesse Vargas are 2 names that need to be mentioned with Vergil Ortiz. They need to be at least negotiated in at least contracts or feelers sent out to those respective parties.
They're like 154 though now, right?
Yeah, but at something. Even if it's, hey, we're 154, we're not going down to 147, at least send something because they're within your network, right? But unfortunately, everyone that is really relevant within the top 10, top 15 isn't within your network, unfortunately. You know, Luis Collazo has a fight later this year on ESPN. If he fights Luis Collazo, first off, you could headline a New York card with him, maybe the small theater at MSG, and clear setup for a Terrence Crawford fight, right? And Sergey Lepinets, I feel, is an all-action fighter, top 10 guy on the PBC side. He can line you up for an Earl Spence fight. And plus, let's be honest, a Vergil Ortiz, Sergey Lepinets fight would be insane and has Fight of the Year written all over it. So I kind of want that more than anything. But I know that's probably the least likely to happen, mainly because, A, PBC and DAZN, and Lipinets isn't the biggest name, so he's not going to be the one that gets you to go across the network in any way. But prospect status for Vergil Ortiz, where is your rank for you guys for the U.S. prospects? I mean, for me, he's probably 1 or 2 with Shakur Stevenson, and maybe a Devin Haney and Tifema Lopez grouping right behind them. But Ortiz is making a claim to be he may be the best offensive U.S. prospect in the game. Purely offensive ability, he might be the best one.
Yeah, we sort of discussed this a little bit before we come on, and it's that crossover point, because to me, Shakur Stevenson's currently in a purse bid to fight for a title. Teofimo's also in a purse bid to fight for a title. So to me, they're more contenders rather than prospects. Yeah, he's got to be up there. He's got to be one of definitely the easily top 5 prospects in the US right now, without a doubt, easily. So, you know, wherever someone puts him, it's going to be an argument with someone about it. But
I hope you know. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. But I hope you know that Gary's going to call in and be very upset.
Oh, he's already called me a hater in the chat.
That you only put him in the top 5. Like, that's going to be a huge issue for him.
All right, top 4. To me, I don't know. I think there's just stuff that could easily make him a hell of a lot better. Like I didn't see a lot of body work throughout the fight.
The left hook to the body?
All right. So one. Yeah, go on.
But he didn't throw it one time. That thing was a consistent tool in his
arsenal. I don't know. It just doesn't stand out to me. Maybe I'll watch it back and I'll see it again. But I just didn't. I just felt he was headhunting a lot. A lot of the power shots just seemed to be, just trying to clean the guy out. It just seemed a little bit more variety, in my opinion. But maybe if I watch it again, I'll see it differently. But it was very early in the morning for me.
I would definitely recommend going back and watching it and look for that left hook and just to see how many times that left hook lands, because that thing was, to the body specifically, obviously, like that thing was hitting that liver all night. Fu, where does obviously your own Dallas native Vergil Ortiz rank for you amongst the U.S. prospects?
Well, so again, what's really tough is, are we considering certain people prospects or contenders now just because they're, like Teofimo Lopez is, like Rob said, in purse bids to fight Comey for a belt. Is he a prospect now?
Shakur Stevenson, same thing, mandatory for the WBO belt.
Right? Exactly. And then, so if we leave those guys in, then I would have it Haney, and then you could 2 or 3, either one of these guys, Stevenson and Ortiz, and then Lopez. It's probably my top 4. Lopez is probably way up there. I don't know. I have a weird thing with Lopez's personality. I don't like braggarts. Like, it's weird to me.
No,
also, I don't like certain people's fans.
No, you love when Loma brags. You eat that shit up when Loma has any sly shit to say about Teofimo Lopez, or back in the day it was Guillermo Rigondeaux.
Because it's always a shot back.
You
it's
ate that shit up, but it's still that braggadocious nature in him. Okay,
but
even if
like
it is reactionary.
Fire,
However, let's be honest. If Loma is not in this equation at all, you are a massive Teofimo Lopez fan.
I think he's very skilled. I do think if you look at what I want to see him at 140. That's what I really want to see, because I think he's even admitted like 135 is getting really tough for him. And I think it took a lot out of him in the last fight to get to the weight, especially with everything else he had going on, personal wise. So I think we're going to see the best that Teofimo has to offer a weight up, not at 135. I think Comey is going to be a really tough fight for Teofimo Lopez, honestly. But I still would probably pick him in it. But Haney's my top guy. I think Shakur Stevenson, even though I don't like him as a person, any of that.
Oh, yeah.
When you look at him in the ring, the dude is just a standout. Like, he's got everything you want. So, yeah.
I agree.
I'm a big fan of those two guys.
Moving on, brief mention of the undercard: Joshua Franco versus Oscar Negrete went to a draw. Really good fight.
They just went their separate ways now, I think.
What was that?
Isn't that like the 3rd fight that they've had?
Yeah, something like that, man.
Yeah, let's just fucking call it. Let's call it a draw, which it is, and do your own thing now. I don't know.
I don't need another fight. You're absolutely right, Rob. No. That's another draw we've had in that now trilogy, I think. Maybe
it's trilogy now, yeah.
I feel like they've had 4 fights though on the low. Like, they've had a lot of fights together for no reason when both guys don't even have more than like 20 odd fights each. Hector Tenahara also picked up a good win on the card, though I will say this: I've never been high on Tenahara, and him calling out Ryan Garcia, I think would be fun. If Ryan Garcia gets past Avery Sparrow, which we're going to talk about a little bit later, because of now that sort of being finalized with a main event on top of it, I wouldn't mind a Tenahara-Ryan Garcia fight, and I think Ryan Garcia actually could win that fight, because I don't think Tenahara is as great as some people have been claiming him to be. And the Riccone brothers picked up some huge KOs as well, but they were off TV, which was just a huge misstep, or I should say off DAZN, off streaming, which was a huge misstep. One of them went viral, air quotes viral, on boxing Twitter. I think that was Alex Riccone's knockout, the brutal left hook. Moving on, though, brief little video we're going to play from Vergil Ortiz talking about Earl Spence being at the fights, which I gotta just play because I thought it was cool, and nice stories in boxing are hard to come by. You know, we talk about so much bullshit in the sport. This is a good thing. Guys supporting each other, so let's just play it.
You talked about in the past dream matchup would be Errol Spence. He was selling tennis tonight. What kind of message did you think you sent him with tennis performance?
You know what? I don't believe that me and Errol will fight in 147. I believe it will happen in 154. You heard this now, my 14th fight. Maybe we'll fight when I have 24, 25 fights. That's a fight waiting to happen. That's definitely a super fight that will happen here in Dallas. And you know what? A lot of respect to Errol Spence. I grew up with him in the same gym. I'm actually pretty happy that he showed up. You know, it just means a lot to me. He used to be my teammate, and just a great fighter.
Why is there a point to take Golden Boy? Talking about in the past drink matchup.
Stop that. And also Shakur Stevenson, speaking of Shakur Stevenson, tweeted out like Vergil Ortiz, cold. And Vergil Ortiz tweeted under like, yeah, it's our time now, basically. And sort of switching it back to the point of prospect, contender, what are they? It is clear that generation of prospect is making the transition to contender, world level, elite level stage. And it's clear it's happening like this next year or so. Like, is going to be that transition. We're going to see the guys either make it or not in the championship level. And it does seem like we're now getting this young generation flooding into the sport when they've been around for a while, obviously. But it's same with across the pond, like Daniel Dubois. Like, he's now having like a true breakout year in a way, right? Like across the board, that young generation is making that transition. Just be on the eye for it, because some of these guys are going to be the Spences, the Thurmans, the Crawfords, who we talked about 4 years ago, 5 years ago. The next generation of those are coming in as we speak.
But I think this newer generation is going to take losses because they get moved along much faster than people used to.
Yes.
And so you're seeing like a 12-fight prospect in there with like a killer, you know?
Josh Taylor, for example, he was 13-0 fighting Victor Postal.
Yeah.
Like that.
Sorry, Robbie, I didn't mean to cut you off.
That was insane. Right. I think you're right about that. You're going to see a lot more of these young guys take losses, and that's a good thing. Like, I don't mean that as a bad thing. Like, you're just going to see that.
Yeah, all I was going to say was I just wish he didn't feel like, well, he was forced into thanking Oscar De La Hoya. That was cringe.
Yeah, that was pretty cringeworthy, but
because 3 seconds before that camera started, hey, you have to tell Oscar thank you for not being here.
I think
thank him for the support. Just say it now. Ready? 3, 2, 1.
Well, he's got handlers too, right? So you're looking, you're like, look, Canelo and Oscar are having issues. You got Ryan Garcia and Oscar having issues. You could be the man. Like, say how good matchmaking and Golden Boy are, and really kind of like solidify yourself.
Give Oscar something to tweet. I'll send it him. He'll tweet it out.
Oscar tweeted
out. By the way, Oscar and Fu are the only people I know that calls other men studs. Just saying.
I think it's a Southern thing too. A lot of Southern guys say stud.
Not a stud.
Right? It's a Southern thing too, I would say. Right,
I have
Phil?
no clue if it's a Southern thing.
I think it's got like this. Stud is not a term used in LA. Ever. Like, don't call me stud. That's just weird. Moving on.
No fucking fear of that.
I'm hurt. Moving on, though. Speaking of being hurt, Carl Frampton got hurt and completely ruined this ESPN card, it seemed. It had no life around it. And honestly, the biggest story that like boxing Twitter was talking about was Robeisy Ramirez losing in dramatic fashion. A 2-time gold medalist beat a literal who's who of amateurs. Shakur Stevenson, Ivan Baranchyk, Nordine Obali, like everyone across the board from like 118 to like 135, 140. This guy has beaten the amateurs and comes in the first round, gets knocked down, loses a split decision. Scorecards were wild, by the way. And
one had him losing by 4 rounds, one had him winning by 2 rounds, and the other one was like a lot. I can't remember, but yeah, crazy.
For a 4-round fight, the scoring was just weird. But
very quick, there was a fight, and I can't remember where it was, but it was this weekend, some far off fight. I can't think, but one scorecard. It was a split decision. One was 119, 111 to one guy. One was 117, 112 to the other guy, and the final judge had it 115, 115. It's like, what the hell? That was mental.
Adon Gonzalez, obviously being Ruiz Ramirez. I mean, shout out to him, man. A guy that's like, 4-2-2, beating a 2-time gold medalist when he was supposed to be the jobber that got beat up. Credit to him, man. And Ruiz Ramirez
came to win.
Ruiz Ramirez, oh, man, he did not look like a 2-time gold medalist at all.
Welcome to the pros.
Wow.
By the way, Gonzalez was back at the hotel, still with his wraps on, and someone tweeted, "Yeah, he's protecting himself from the concrete pillars."
That's good.
It was great.
Edgar Belonga picked up a win as well, 12th win, 12th KO within the first round. Got walked out by Fat Joe, legend. I will say this:
Did he make your list? Fat Joe in your list? Is he
no, he's definitely not. He's not my top 20. No.
Was he in yours?
No. Fat Joe's a top. Fat Joe's like a
Oh,
top.
Fat Joe's great.
But he's not a top 20. He's like a top 75 rapper.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's better as a feature.
Absolutely, I agree with that. But digressing, I heavily get like Munguia vibes from Belonga. Like padded record against guys that really shouldn't be there, guys that are bartenders and like painters that you're fighting. And this guy looks massive. Like this guy looks like whatever Dylan White and Jared Miller got caught for. Hey, allegedly, they should hit up Belonga because, man, allegedly speaking, that guy looked like a stud, to use that word that Fu loves so much.
You're saying he looks like a fucking illegally enhanced stud.
Yo,
Steady.
he looks like a 160-pound Anthony Joshua. Like, it's just is weird. Like, I'm just...
Joshua looks about 160 pounds right now, by the way. I don't know what's going on.
That's an old picture, though, I thought.
No,
That was an old picture.
the one of him looking slimmer, that's from his Snapchat the other day.
Yo,
You had to mention Rob's boyfriend.
Yo, but I will say this: every fucking training camp we hear, "Oh, look at this picture of AJ. He's slimming down." Never
And then
happens.
like 258.
He goes up 10 pounds. Moving on though, because really, I'll be honest, I didn't really see the Jason Sosa fight. I kind of just after Ruiz Ramirez lost, I'm like, you know what? I'm good. What am I watching here? Guys, any sort of comment on this card at all? No.
No, Fu didn't see it.
I know.
I'm not watching that card.
I've seen the Rabisky, what's it, Ramirez.
Yeah.
Just welcome to the pros. You know, sometimes a lot of hype coming in. It's just a different game.
Well,
you know,
it's like what's his name that beat it's the heavyweight guy that just got signed up. That Usyk beat in the World Series of Boxing. That's a huge amateur. I forget his name. But he's another guy, like, every time I've seen him fight since the amateurs, I'm like, oh, how did he do so well in the amateurs? Like, what happened here? But moving on, speaking of Munguia, because since Belonga gives me huge Munguia vibes, Munguia versus Alote is now headlining that September 14th card with Ryan Garcia and Avery Sparrow, taking place at the Dignity Health Sports Park in Carson, California, a.k.a. the Stub Hub. I'll be honest, I don't care about this fight at all for Munguia. I'm tired of Munguia fighting guys that we've never heard of, and he still looks bad. So I'm fully expecting Alote to beat up Munguia and lose via decision. So that's my thoughts on it.
Yeah. I mean, it was interesting that it came out about he wanted a catch weight with Jesse Vargas. And then that fight's fallen through, but yeah, it is what it is. Viva Mexico, saving that holiday with a Mexican on a card. I don't know. It's not good, but obviously Ryan's on there.
I think that name is Leighton in the chat, talking about how they didn't. You guys in the UK didn't get fights over there. It seems on Sky or BT like these two guys are talking about.
Nope.
Cough cough. Dailymotion.com has usually what?
We didn't get it live. I think you mean like.
But
is that going to be live on Daily Motion?
No, not live on Daily Motion. Did he just say live? If he said live specifically, then I apologize because obviously live doesn't. But if you want to see the fights, period, and you haven't seen them, Daily Motion has them all. And I'll be honest, for these lower level fights, you can kind of find them on YouTube too. To be honest, just type in the fight name, just the last names, and full fight attached to it, like Ortiz versus Orozco full fight on Google. You guys should be able to find a link. Allthebestfights.com, also a great website if you guys need to find links for fights and you guys can't find these fights, post. But digressing, speaking of a fight that you may need to find on Daily Motion or one of those websites, Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. picked up a win this weekend, guys. Be happy, come on. Hey, Canelo Chavez too. I'm smelling it. Not really, but I mean, that could happen, actually, now that I'm thinking about it. Please, let's not get Canelo Chavez Jr. too, for the love of fucking God. But
and his daddy still doesn't love him.
Damn, fool. What the hell?
Think of it.
That's just
be
mean.
a great moment where he wins back daddy's love. You know?
God, this is so hard.
You're my son again.
Then Canelo beats him soundly, and it's like, oh, man, Canelo's my son again.
Anyways, I haven't seen this fight. It's news. Hey, if you find the link, send it my way. But yeah, Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. picked up a
Brutal
win.
body shot.
And let's be honest, guys. He's Chavez Jr., so now that he's back fighting, it's only a matter of time till he gets a big fight. Like, it's just...
Yeah.
Sorry, guys. He is Broner. Like, he is Adrian Broner.
Let's not talk Broner.
Hey, I'm sorry, but that's just how...
That's true.
It's how the game works, man. Sucks.
No.
Speaking of how the game works, though, we're boxing Super Series. Ripping off fighters and Prograis not being happy with it, obviously.
Or are they?
Ooh, dun, dun, dun. World Boxing Super Series prepared for legal battle to keep Prograis in the tournament, per Jake Donovan on Boxing Scene. I think we are going to head down this route because, at the very least, if you're World Boxing Super Series, you have to do this to save face. Like, you can't let a guy file a dispute in a district court and just walk. You can't.
World Boxing Super Series came out with their own response saying they've done absolutely nothing wrong. Everything's above board and legal on a legal front. Everything's fine. So I don't know.
The exact quote. The litigation initiated by Regis Prograis and DeBella Entertainment, Inc., DPE, in New Jersey District Court is completely unfounded and without any basis in fact or in law.
I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. 2 Lou DeBella fighters have had the problem.
The heart of the legal complaint filed by New Orleans, LA-bred Prograis outlined Camosa AG failing to deposit final funds, the guaranteed purse, and the win bonus into an escrow account in advance of the tournament. Prograis and Scotland's Taylor are guaranteed $700,000 each for the finals, with the winner to collect an additional $1.3 million. And again, according to Prograis, that is not in escrow at this point. So, hey, let's just see where this pans out. Again, call in 323-870-4051. Skype Mix Combat Radio. Fu, Rob, any thoughts on World Boxing Super Series, Prograis, and the battle that it is? Me and Rob talked about it when the news broke on Championship Rounds, which, by the way, the last 3 Patreon shows will be uploaded for free on podcast form later today. So if you want to catch the last 3 Patreon shows, you can't see the video of it, but you can catch the audio on podcast form later today. They will be released. Anyways, guys, back to you. World Boxing Super Series, Prograis lawsuit. Any predictions? Any sort of theories? Anything like that?
I'm just sad. I wanted that fight. I wanted to see it happen. So hopefully, even if for some reason he pulls out of the Super Series, and actually stays out of the Super Series, it still happens somewhere. But I don't really think DeBella is a dumb businessman or Prograis.
He was a lawyer, right?
Yeah, so I mean, they would have to know that they have some kind of a case before they would, be this vocal about the issues.
You can see a phantom injury coming along to help out with that sort of case or whatever. Just to, he can't fight anyway. He's injured or whatever. I don't know, but it's been. This happened with Baranchik, then the money arrived, and Baranchik fought. I think it was like 10 days before the fight was supposed to happen, and then he was back in and whatever. He was training in case, but the money arrived and it was all good. So I don't know. But I believe they wanted to make it like September, there's something, which meant Prograis he'd get like a 6-week camp. So I think there's definitely failings on World Boxing Super Series part. There always seems to be delay, and it's been brilliant. It's great. We've got what a semi-final, what a final we've got to look forward to. Right, when's the final? And then nothing for ages.
Nonito Donaire says, "Hey, they haven't talked to me once since I fought last."
Yeah, well, they've made that one now.
Well,
and,
to be fair, I would
not found the loophole.
I would assume that the second that went out into the media, that article was published, he got a phone call, or his manager got a phone call from someone and told him, "Hey, shut up."
Yep.
They just need to, I don't know, lock this down somehow better, because otherwise I just don't see a third season of World Boxing Super Series. If they can secure that money from the get-go, right, there's the money for that, 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 fine. But can you see any big-name fighter attaching themselves now off the back of the shit that sort of come out?
No. It's going to be like
where we get all the unifications and stuff.
Quickly before you jump in, Fu, super chat, Leighton saying, "Keep up the good work, boys." Matt, calm down. No.
Look, he paid to say that, so try.
I'm trying, guys. I'm trying.
Thank you, Leighton.
What I was going to say is I think I'm with Rob on this, that anything in the future is going to be like maybe prospect tournaments or kind of contender series tournaments, but we're not going to really see champs in this, I don't think, because you can't tie yourself to something that keeps you from fighting for so long when, you would think they would just go, here's who's going to be in the tournament. Here's the date for every one of these fights. Like these fights will happen this date, and then the next round will happen on these dates. And, so that it's already lined out.
Sounds like common sense, right?
Right. But this tournament's been so shitty because they put it in like areas where the fighters weren't really known. They haven't had crowds. And then finally they started, like they went, where Josh Taylor would have a bigger crowd last time and things like that. But they learned way too late. Like, they should have just kind of played off of the fan favorite on each one of these to make the most money they could in each of these fights. And they really didn't do that.
Let's be honest here. World Boxing Super Series stumbled into what Rock Nation tried to do. Like big-time investors flexing a bunch of money into boxing, trying to buy up names and to put on events. Now, obviously, Camosa AG is more of a European property. That's why we got way more European names, way more European events, right? But that's what it is to me. It's like Rock Nation coming in, knowing jack shit about the boxing industry, but trying to do something and kind of failing at it, right? They've done that. They kind of got lucky with the cruiserweight final in the first, or the tournament period in the first season, right? Like that was such a rounding success. And obviously those were all European names largely that they could put off in Europe. Fights could be in Europe and Eastern Europe to where it sort of made sense, right? But everything else, like the super middleweight tournament, was completely messed up throughout the entire process. Locations were weird. Like you said, Fu, like they just figured it out way too late. Or I should say, they probably let certain people take the reins too late. Certain people in the marketing department, certain people within their executives class within Camosa or Silent Promotions. Whoever really knew boxing, I think were allowed to sort of take the reins later on halfway through this season. And there's been that dichotomy in sort of company mandating, company company philosophy, so to speak. And I think we're not going to get a third season. And if we do, it will be a complete shit show. But not the last piece of news, but connecting to this, World Boxing Super Series announced their cruiserweight finals for their obviously second season here with Briedis and Dorticos for December 14th in Riga, Latvia. So we now have 2 of the 3 finals set. Obviously, Donaire and Inoue in Saitama, Japan, November 7th, and Briedis and Dorticos in Latvia. I'm obviously really hyped for, I think, one of those fights, and I'm decently hyped for the cruiserweight final, but it just doesn't have the meaning that obviously Usyk, Gassiev had last year or 2 years ago. Like that meant something. This doesn't really feel like it means something. It's just a really, really good fight. A lot of people asking in the chat what's next for Josh Taylor. Obviously, if he can't get the Regis-Prograis fight, I would believe a alternate would come in, and that would be the final. That would be what the rules of World Boxing Super Series are.
Yeah, I don't know who's on standby. I'll have to try and find that out. But will it be someone as good as Prograis? I guess not. So, Josh Taylor, welcome to 700,000 plus a 1.3 million bonus.
Yep.
If they give it you.
Okay. You're not getting credential for World Boxing Super Series events, Rob. You now know that.
Callum will forget by tonight.
Oh, for sure. But last piece of news, MTK announced 2 fighters attached to their upcoming tournament, O'Hara Davis and Tyrone Tyrone McKenna. I mean, decent names, but this is sort of the extent, I think, of what we're going to get. I think these are
more.
I mean, like in terms of big names, like O'Hara Davis might be the biggest name they grab.
He's in there.
No, but again, name value. You get to decent 140-pounder, obviously, but
he was just in the World Boxing Super Series.
Yeah, and he looked good against Branchik too. Remember his eyes swelled up like a gross amount.
Yeah.
But I think like these are like the big names you're gonna get, and you're gonna see a lot of more of maybe regional names on the come up. Should be interesting just to see what guys may be breakout stars, air quote. What unknown guy might be a hit that we didn't know about before. Rob, MTK, UK, this is all you. Thoughts?
It's not all me. You're going to get it on ESPN.
You know what I mean. I mean, like this is your beat.
All right. Okay. Yeah. No, it's good. I think I like the concept, and I think they will have definitely have it running smoother than the World Boxing Super Series. I think it'd be an easier thing, and just the fact that it's like the golden contract. It's like, in a way, not more at stake because it's potentially someone who's not already, challenging for a world title, like the World Boxing Super Series. Yeah, we get unifications out of it. We maybe find out who the guy is, but this is for maybe some young, hungry fighter to get a contract, to get that push. So in some regards, maybe this is more almost not a big deal, but at people's stages of their careers, it's maybe like a bigger prize to fight for. They've maybe been fighting on small hall shows, making shitty money. This could be, I think it's a 6-figure contract aligned with a big promoter and X amount of fights guaranteed. So that's some kind of security instantly for someone who necessarily didn't know if they were going to get it in their career or not. So I like it. I like the idea of it, and I'm sure it'll be run quite smoothly. So
plus, I mean, if your expectations are lower, it's easier to achieve those expectations, right? If your expectation is to have the greatest tournament in all of sports for the Muhammad Ali Trophy, which means all of this that we've never known about, but it means so much. And you want to
step into the light.
You're sort of setting yourself up for failure, especially when you don't know what you're doing. Speaking when I say they, I mean Camosa, AG. But anyways, Fu, any sort of comment on MTK and this tournament? We want to go to callers.
No, really, I like the idea of it. I hope it's done really well, and I'd like to see maybe some of this stuff happen over here where we could, I think prospect tournaments and things like that are good for visibility. But you'll have to see kind of what happens from this. If it's a shit show like the other stuff, then who knows?
I want to see boxing where they do like WWE type matches where it's like a retirement match or shave your head match. Let's
Oh, you're talking hair bets now? Are we talking hair bets?
Well, I'm already there, mate.
Yeah, like Rob talking about hair bets is like, I don't know, like a eunuch talking about
about other people having their hair shaved. It's fine. Hair is quite common. People have it, some more than others.
But I'm fine, guys.
If I want to see a boxer have his head shaved, that's up to me.
I'm secure with my amount of hair on my head. It's okay.
And obviously with Ortiz and Wilder be the only great finishers in the game, forgetting Ortiz, Inoue. But we could have casket matches as well, Let's get some
casket matches.
Obviously, Lukey. Shout out to Lukey, who is just, Lukey. Saying that outrageously stupid comment on Twitter saying the best finishers in boxing are Wilder and Ortiz. Ortiz being a guy that's, 14-0?
Vergil Ortiz, yeah. Not Ruiz or anything like that.
Yeah, no, good point. Or Victor, not that guy.
Yeah.
And then somebody quote tweeted, "Did fucking Inoue die?"
Yeah. Wait, did I miss something? Did Inoue die?
It was so good. I was dying from that, man. Anyways, guys. BK in the chat, not a super chat, but it was funny saying, good to see all three of you guys together. Charlie's Angels.
If it's not a super chat, Matt, don't read it.
Damn right, BK. We are the Charlie's Angels, but not the new one that's coming out.
For sure, Lucy Lou.
Not the one that's coming out in like a month or two that looks atrocious. Not that one. The original with obviously Lucy Lou. Duh.
He just said, I am for sure Lucy Lou.
You want to take? I'll take Drew Barrymore. I'll take that.
Who's the other one?
You're Cameron Diaz.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine. Cameron Diaz is the most annoying, so that makes sense.
The Three Amigos. We should all do the dance now.
No, we should not do the dance now, even though we've been practicing for a long time. As for Patreon, going out to callers 323-870-4051. Numbers below on the screen. Skype Mixed Combat Radio. It's the name of the show. Skype. International callers. Come on, all UK guys. All mad that I was going at Fu and Rob. Come on, call in.
They just want you to calm down. I think they were worried for you. Just calm down.
I yell all the time, guys.
But it works, Matt. We've got 1,700 subscribers.
Woo-hoo.
Yeah.
Anyway,
come on, guys. It's normal.
That entertaining hissy fit.
Yo, Fu hasn't been on for a while too, so I need to go extra hard at him. Pause, because I've been saving up me arguing with Fu for a month or two. Okay, and I'll be honest, I let him off the hook the last week when we did a Trending Now show, which you go check out on Trending Now on YouTube, where we debated the top 20 MCs of all time. And Fu had the audacity to put Vince Staples, A, in his top 20, and B, over J. Cole. Absolutely insane. But, Gary, we're going to you now. Do not talk about that fucking list again, because if you talk about Jay-Z and start being disrespectful, I will just skip your call. Okay, Gary?
Just calm.
I am calm. Gary in Dallas, what's up?
Just real quick, are you and Phil, do either one of you have either Too Short or Prodigy on your list?
Not in the top 20.
But
neither one of them.
Anthony had Prodigy on his list, didn't he?
Anthony did, yes. We didn't.
Yeah.
So one of us did, not me and
Phil.
Phil.
No one had Too Short?
No, not Too Short.
No.
I'll be honest.
Anyway, Gary, what do you think of your hype job?
Okay, so Rob, you were just hating, so we're just gonna talk over you. He doesn't look that good.
I didn't say he doesn't look that good. I said I like him, and I'm looking forward to his next fight.
I thought the performance was spectacular. I thought he would win, but I didn't know that he would get rid of Carrasco. Ramirez didn't, and Matt says it was a war. It was a war, but it was like a one-sided war, right? They both. Ramirez won almost every round. Although he ate a ton of shots, Ramirez won pretty much every round, if I remember that fight correctly. Did he not?
I would have to. I don't remember it exactly like that, but sure.
Okay, I could be wrong. I remember it being toe-to-toe, but Ramirez getting the better of it.
Yeah, I agree with that sentiment.
Matt, when I was texting with you yesterday, it was a bunch of names on the reaction show. I like the Luis Collazo name. I think that's a really good fight. You could do it at the Garden. I think Golden Boy would be down with it because Oscar always likes the Puerto Rico versus Mexico rival. I would have a little bit of that. Collazo sells well in New York. You can put it in the small theater in the Garden. I think it does really well. I like that fight. What do you think? Does that do anything for Vergil Ortiz to get a knockout in that fight against Collazo? Does it give him any more luster?
If it's on ESPN, right, and it's in the in MSG, right, and he has some sort of push, for God's sake, he goes on at least one radio show. That's all I'm asking. Yeah, it will help. It has to help. It can't keep him where he's at. It has to be a net benefit.
That was the only problem. He was in his hometown yesterday with all the hometown media. It was like the biggest home game you'd ever seen. Hooker didn't have a fan base and a fan reaction like Vergil Ortiz had last night. And he didn't do any interviews with anyone.
Or Vergil Ortiz?
I don't understand. Yeah.
No, he did one. He did some interviews.
In the interview, in the ring, not to any of the local media that was there.
No, he did.
Did he?
Yeah.
We played one.
Okay.
Yeah, Fight Hype. I don't know if that was Fight Hype, actually. But I know for a fact our good friend Matthew Wells over at Slip and Dip Podcast was in attendance there in Dallas and had interviews with Vergil Ortiz, and they did really good views, actually. Shout out to Matthew Wells and
there you go.
Slip and Dip Podcast. So, no, there are interviews.
I guess he came back out later because he walked right into the dressing room and was just gone. Maybe he came back out later.
Mm-hmm. That's actually quite common, to be honest.
Yeah, they go see the doctor and stuff first.
Yeah,
right?
you can't go straight from the
drug
ring
test
to
and all that.
go to media and post fight press conference. You have to go get checked out by the commission. You have to go maybe even do a piss test. You have to go through certain things, and then you go to the media.
I had a couple of other names, which I wanted you guys' opinion on. I like Lipinets too, but here's what: Golden Boy's not going to let that fight happen because Lipinets is high risk, low reward.
Yep.
He has no fan base. He's hella tough. But I like the fight. I think, okay, if he beats Lipinets, he's ready for a world title fight. I like the fight. Golden Boy would never make that fight in a million years. Mikey's already beat him up, right?
Yep.
So it's like, well, Mikey couldn't cut it at welterweight, so why would it be different for Vergil? And I think Vergil would win. He probably wouldn't get a knockout. I like the fight. I think it's a good test. Golden Boy would never do that. Maybe somebody like Berto, they put him in with someone. Do you think PBC would feed Berto to a Golden Boy welterweight? Save him for something.
If they send Ortiz to PBC, maybe. If you put like an Andre Berto, Vergil Ortiz co-main event on Fox, or even a main event on Showtime or whatever it is, like, I'm intrigued. Like, and I do think a Berto name does help. That's a name that people know in some fashion.
But I would figure PBC would want to save Berto for one of their own.
I don't know about that. I don't know. I think Berto has been so far out of the equation that I don't know if he's even in the equation anymore, to be quite honest.
Hey, Gary, real quick. Tony had an amazing comment here. He said Ortiz versus Rigucci unification. Isn't that your Italian guy?
Rigatoni.
They're both the zone guys. Yeah.
They're both the zone guys.
I didn't know that. I'd be game for that fight. Both guys knock out Keith Thurman, so.
Come on, stop.
Yeah.
Stop.
I don't think that has any luster here or there.
Even in Italy, it doesn't have luster.
Right. Boxing doesn't sell in Italy. It's not basketball is way bigger in Italy than boxing is.
Hell yeah.
Like, I don't know why.
Kobe Bryant, baby. Come on. Italians
Kobe
love
Bryant,
Kobe.
That played in Italy. Yeah. Kobe speaks fluent Italian.
Yes, he does, man. Yes, he does. I'll be honest, Gary, this is totally off topic, but not really, since you mentioned basketball. For any country not the U.S. that likes basketball, you're going to almost always trace why they like basketball to Kobe Bryant.
Okay. It's like 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon, but 6 degrees of Kobe Bryant.
Yep.
Is that
fact?
Okay.
Fact.
I had an idea. About Vergil Ortiz's next fight. Mario Barrios has that fight coming up for the WBA regular 140-pound title against the Russian guy. On the same card, put it in San Antonio. You do Barrios in that fight, and in the co-main, you do Vergil Ortiz versus Omar Figueroa.
I mean,
Omar Figueroa lose all luster in that last fight.
I think he could still take that fight.
No, and speaking of would that work for Vergil Ortiz? Would that help put him over? Yeah, it would. It would help put him over. I don't know if Figueroa takes it though. I'll be honest.
Talk about casket matches.
Yeah, seriously. I'll be honest. I may not want to see that just purely because I don't want to see Figueroa get hurt. That just sounds like he would get really beat up.
And so everyone knows that wasn't some insensitive joke about people dying in the ring. That was
it kind of was
Robbie's WWE thing.
It kind of was. It was a double entendre, but it's okay.
Yeah, that was.
We'll allow it. We'll allow
sorry,
it.
Guys.
We'll allow it.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
What happened?
Fu made a dying joke, so just
yeah, I shouldn't do that.
Poor form.
Yeah.
Let's bring more attention on it though.
I just think that as a co-main on the Barrios card in San Antonio would do really well. They would draw fighters and they would draw fans in from all over. You get Dallas fans for Vergil, and then the Figueroas are from the Valley. I think they're from Brownsville or Edinburgh. No, they're from Westlaco, which is.
Did you go there, Gary? Was you at the fight?
2 hours.
Gary was texting me last night.
What was that?
He sent me
You
pictures.
were at the fight, yeah?
I went to the fight last night. Yeah.
Was it full up?
It was full. It was the venue probably. We were trying to guess how much the venue held. Probably between 2,000 and 2,500. But it was full. There wasn't an empty seat that I saw.
Did you run into Eric from
Eric Cruz?
Cruz, yeah.
No, I didn't know he was there. I didn't see him.
Yeah, he was there, I think.
I just want to let everyone know Gary's first thing he did after Ortiz won was text me. The very first thing he did.
Oh, I bet he was doing the second thing at the same time.
And okay, so you buried the lead. That's obviously the lead story of the day. And it was the third thing you mentioned. You mentioned the location of the Joshua Ruiz rematch. Then you talked about Billy Joe. And then the third thing you did was talking about Vergil Ortiz.
To be fair, Rob and Fu wanted to talk about AJ, not me.
No.
Secondly,
my intro. That was all.
Secondly, yeah, I'm sorry, Gary. Vergil Ortiz is still not a bigger name than Billy Joe Saunders.
But Vergil Ortiz had a fight.
Cool.
Billy Joe allegedly may have or may not have signed a contract.
That's Dan Rayfield. I mean, it's a pretty safe bet at this point.
Comic book guy? Yeah, him.
I mean, he is the lead reporter at ESPN, right? The thing for sports in the country. And on top of it, Matchroom having a post. So yeah.
I replied in the Matchroom post, Andy Ruiz. And then I got a few people
the last name I wanted to throw out there. Josh Kelly for Vergil Ortiz.
Nah, Kelly be killed.
I thought you liked Ortiz.
They're not going to make that match.
Josh Kelly's going to make him miss more than he already did.
Rob, I have it in text where you agreed with me that Josh Kelly would lose that fight.
I said possibly.
Josh Kelly's going to do that thing where he, dodges a couple punches and then just walks around the ring, with his hands down, he does every match. It's every fucking fight. It's so annoying. I really want Josh Kelly to be a little more of a killer in the ring.
Kelly's off the table. Kelly's off the table because I believe Eddie Hearn owes Ray Robinson another fight, and they're saying it'll be the Kelly rematch.
And because they know that Josh Kelly is absolutely not ready for that ass whooping.
Hold on, very quickly. Hold on, guys. This is really important here for the story, okay? Per the MCR group chat, I texted at 8:35 a.m. this morning. First thing I texted, by the way, this morning was a gif of, hey, you guys from Goonies, with the text under it, Vergil Ortiz beats Josh Kelly. And Robbie Hearns texted back, probably. Lawyered.
Oh
no, I
lawyered.
think you know what phone.
Damn, that access journalism just went down the drain.
I think
You're not invited to the family reunion anymore. Sorry.
You know when you press send before you finish typing? I was like, probably not. And also, Matt, that wasn't the first interaction you had this morning. It was a thumbs down on me saying asleep Matt is the funniest Matt.
Because that's just categorically untrue.
Yeah. But it's true what happened.
Anyways, Gary, back to you. Sorry.
It'd be interesting. I
apologize.
So I would like one of those names. Either Figueroa, Collazo, Josh Kelly, one of those names, or Berto, but I don't think they would give him Berto because they would want to save Berto for one of them. But I would like one of those names later this year, and then early next year, he fights Hooker, who wants to move to 147. And then
and crushes.
He's ready for a world title.
I don't care for a Maurice Hooker fight. That's actually like, I'll be honest.
Well, you get another win.
No.
Right?
Gary, I'll be honest. I don't want to see Ortiz fight any more 140 pounders moving up. Like I don't want to see that. I want to see him fight established 147 pounders. He's already proved that he can fight tough 140 pounders moving up in Antonio Roscoe. I don't need to see it anymore.
Yeah,
Let's fight established names. Even though he's 21, and I know we haven't brought up like this part of it, but I know me and you have talked about it before on the show, Gary. The fact that Canelo and Golden Boy are more and more likely going down the route of a lawsuit, Golden Boy might need to expedite Vergil Ortiz's path and sort of career trajectory, and he needs to be expedited to a title shot as fast as possible. Because even if he loses said title shot, he will be 22, 23 years old when that happens. Who cares? He'll bounce back fine. It happened to Canelo, and he's still the biggest star in the sport. So I think Ortiz needs to fight a top 15 name. Collazo is probably the best bet.
So,
maybe he'll fight in December 7th in Saudi Arabia.
Not a top 15 guy, but would you be okay with Josh Kelly?
No, because it doesn't get him towards a title shot.
Okay.
But I'll put it this way. I like Kelly above Hooker because Kelly's more of an established 147 pounder.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
And Brandon Figueroa?
Omar.
You don't want that fight for Omar Figueroa? Yeah.
I'll take that over Maurice Hooker. I'll take that over Maurice Hooker. Absolutely. Okay. He's more established in the weight class.
I think those fights make sense. And Fu, when you were saying, I don't understand. Help me understand. I want your affinity, your love for Matchroom. I don't get like why boxing fans love a promoter.
I have no affinity for.
I'm not picking on you. I don't get it.
I have no affinity for Matchroom.
You love Eddie.
I like Eddie as a I like listening to his interviews. Yeah. If Heyman did a bunch of great, funny interviews, I'd listen to Heyman all the time. He just doesn't. No one on Ellerby doesn't either.
He might not even exist, like Bob Arum says. Yeah. But
I don't have. You can ask Rob. I'm pretty unbiased in our chat about stuff. I go at Eddie all the time.
Okay. Oh no! Whoa! Pinocchio knows out the fucking door, man.
I go at Eddie all the time. Rob will be upset with me sometimes in the chat because
I agree.
Where is it coming from?
I'll put it this way, Gary. Fu is far more objective in the group chat than on the show. He is absolutely right about that point.
Okay.
And I was pretty objective in the fucking show. I came out saying I thought the PBC was a better choice. I just didn't think they would make the fights. That's exactly what I was trying to say there.
And that's a very dumb point. Back to you, Gary.
All right. I just, I wasn't picking on you because there's a lot of people who are on either the PBC camp or the Matchroom camp, and I just don't get it, right? It's like Redskins or Cowboys or Yankees and Red Sox. Like, if you go to the other team, like, if Anthony Joshua signed with PBC, would you then hate Anthony Joshua? Like, I don't understand it. Like,
yes.
No, because I love PBC.
No. I don't think Gary meant you. I don't think Gary's no longer talking to you guys. He's now talking in general about just.
And stop saying foo and names and shit.
Just because I love Mikey Garcia. I'm a big Errol Spence fan. I like Sean Porter. Like, I don't have any issue with PBC fighters.
You cannot tell me that you like Sean Porter and Errol Spence when you totally forgot they were fighting this year.
Yeah,
I didn't forget.
That's right. You're speaking out of both sides of your mouth, bro. Really.
I didn't forget.
Get him, Gary.
That fight hasn't happened yet.
It hasn't happened.
It's happening next month.
So it hasn't happened yet.
Come on, bro.
And hold on, hey, hold on, Gary, PBC is not consistent because they haven't done that enough. But hey, Eddie's had 2 unifications this year, so that's more consistent, bro. Lawyered.
What you're talking about?
If you put a gun to my head and said, who's done a better job of making the fights with the talent they're given, Eddie or Al? It's probably Eddie, right? But it's not like Eddie's done some great job of making all the best fights he can make, right? So it's like they both have left fights on the table. It's both their fault that Wilder and Joshua didn't get made. Like, to put it on one guy and not the other.
I didn't even bring that up.
I don't think Gary's really talking to you guys anymore. Oh, yeah. Gary's ranting. Just let Gary
I
talk.
think Gary's gone into his own.
Hey, just like all of us, we look at boxing Twitter and experience that bullshit every day. Sometimes we just need events about it.
You said what before?
There's other shows for that, though.
He has made 2 big fights in 5 years. That's not true.
2 unifications.
Two unifications in 5 years.
Yes.
But then you said that Canelo versus Rocky Fielding.
No, that was a separate point. It was a separate point. I was saying if you're going to sign with a promoter that's going to make you good money, Rocky Fielding was a fucking lucky guy to get in the ring with Canelo.
But again, Fu, you mentioned that point when we weren't talking about that. We were talking about who makes the big fights, who makes the unifications, and you brought up Rocky Fielding, Canelo. You have to admit that
with Canelo is a big
fight for Rocky Fielding.
It's not a big fight for us. It's not a big fight for us.
Well, that's a different situation.
No, that's exactly what we're talking about, though. When we're talking about big fights, objectively, we have to look at what the fans consider the big fights. Because Carlos Ocampo considered the Earl Spence the biggest fight of his entire life ever. And guess what? Does anyone think Earl Spence Carlos Ocampo is a big fight? No, come on. Like you know that's a bad argument. You know that's a bad argument, Fu.
Because
if you were Ocampo's promoter, then yes. If you were saying if Ocampo signs with the promoter and gets a major
so when we talk about unifications and big fights, you are defining big fights as what do those individual fighters perceive as the big fights? Then what are you defining it as? Because that's what you just said.
It was 2 separate arguments.
But Fu, again, when you mentioned that point, we weren't talking about that. We were talking about the argument of
and I took it off the table. I said I'll take it off the table because I said I was arguing from Billy Joe Saunders' point of view.
And now and the only 2 fights you are citing are
because Gary is like
no. I know. I'm not talking about Gary. I'm talking about you right now. Yeah. Okay.
Actually talking about Fu, or
I'm talking about Fu. I'm actually talking about Fu and his argument and the structure of it, right? Just to understand it better, right? I don't want to speak for him. I want to understand what he's saying better, right? Your cited examples were obviously Rahman and Doheny, and Jacobs and Canelo. Both fights happened in the last 6 months. Rob jumped in with a good example of AJ Parker because that makes sense. That happened in 2017, so about 3 years, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, whatever it was. And so now you have 3 fights on your docket for unifications. Okay.
But,
that's it.
Like Hearn and Lard. You don't count a fight like that. That's not a unification fight. You know what I'm saying? That's a unification fight. Why didn't you count that one?
That's a great fight.
But PBC doesn't make great fights for unifications. What you said.
No, you said welterweight.
Is Hearn and Lard a great fight in a unification?
But he said no.
He specifically brought up the issue with welterweight.
No.
Yeah, that's
Hold on. Fu's initial general point was PBC doesn't make unifications. Then he started citing examples. Okay, but the general point is still PBC doesn't make unifications. He just cited another unification. It may not be counter to the exact examples Fu brought up, but his general point is still PBC doesn't make unifications. Period. But they do. They've made a lot recently.
That's a really good point. I forgot about Hearn. No, Gary, that's a fantastic point. But if you were going to...
Thank you, sir.
So, from my point of view, if you were going to be Billy Joe Saunders and sign with someone, who would you sign with?
I'd sign with whoever offered me more money. Like, that's who I'd sign with.
So
that's Eddie Hearn.
Yeah.
And again, we all agree with that. We all agree with that. That's not what we're talking about when we're talking about PBC making unifications versus Matchroom. We have to separate those arguments. Okay, they're not connected.
I have a fantasy world fight. What if somehow Vergil Ortiz and Amir Khan could fight.
Oh my God! I think actually
Matt,
Gary brought that up.
Talked about that.
Yeah.
We talked about it on the Patreon show.
I think that would be great for Vergil Ortiz. Awful for Amir Khan. Sorry.
Sensational knockout.
Sorry, Coach Mitty. Sorry, Coach Mitty in the chat, but Amir Khan would get destroyed in that fight. But it would help.
He wouldn't be able to enjoy a chocolate mouse again.
Yo.
Chocolate mouse. What the
If those that should I pull up the video really fast for those that haven't seen it?
Yeah, do it.
Hold on, Gary. Gary, I need to meet you just for a split second. I'll bring you back, okay? It's worth it. It's so worth it. Amir Khan, who again is a national fucking treasure, right?
On his flight, ask the stewardess. It's brilliant.
Oh, hold on, let me get it. Don't spoil it, Rob. It's too good.
Well, all right. I didn't know if you were playing the audio or what.
Oh, I'll show the video. It's a Twitter video. It's not like it's copyright.
Okay, I just didn't know.
Hold on. As it's loading. But back to Fu being a fanboy. He is a fanboy. He just doesn't want to admit it.
Pot kettle.
Hey. We should have that discussion. I post in the group chat on the show. Who is actually being successful this year and who is struggling this year in terms of promotional, air quotes, promotional outfits. We'll have that discussion in a bit. Remember what we're talking about, right?
Oh, yeah, that's when Fu wasn't an Eddie Hearn fanboy.
Yes, that's true. But again, back to my point, Fu is very objective in the group chat, not on the show.
Because I don't like fans. That's why. I'll tell you exactly why. I'll tell you what makes me seem bent more one way than the other. It's listening to Matchroom fanboys or PBC fanboys. It will always drive me to push for the other side because I just don't like fans.
Anyways, back to something funny so we can be happy, guys. Okay. Amir Khan on a flight here in somewhere with his lovely wife taking a video of him.
Professional. You know the white chocolate mouse? Is it really good? Professional. You know the white chocolate mouse? Is it really good?
For those that did not understand what he's saying, perhaps he is looking at a food menu on an airplane looking, the white chocolate mouse, is it edible? Obviously, and the stewardess looked at him like, what the fuck are you saying? You mean moose? And it's
you just said, no, the mouse is not edible, but, the moose is.
No, we just sell white chocolate live pets somehow.
Yeah. Please do not eat the white chocolate mouses.
But anyways, sorry, I thought that was great. And since we brought it up, I wanted to show you guys that video. But back to Gary and boxing. Gary.
The third best prospect in the sport behind Vergil.
Like Gary didn't hear any of it. He just carried on his run. I love it.
I heard it. I wanted to look at Matt, though. After the two big prospects, Ortiz and Figueroa, you have Hector Tanajera. What don't you like about him? There's not enough snap in his punch? Or what?
Yeah, there's just not enough. I get a real, Jesse Vargas vibe. Where, he's good at everything.
Ooh.
But nothing great at. I don't see anything truly great in his arsenal. And that's going to, being above average and everything will get you really far in the sport. It will.
Gary, that was weird.
But I don't think it will get him to the highest level, perhaps. So that's why I'm a little bit not questioning Tanajera's ceiling, but yeah, I'm questioning Tanajera's ceiling because I don't see anything special there quite yet. And plus, no pop. I mean, you can be pretty, just above average, but have immense power, and that will carry you over to the next level. He doesn't really have that.
Because he was landing right hand after right hand.
Oh, yeah. No, he's
and
good.
They didn't really seem to have much effect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He might be like another.
He's gonna have.
I know you might not like this comparison, but he might be like another Mario Barrios, where he's good, but he's just good.
Ooh, I think you're wrong about Barrios, especially if Barrios can stay at 140. I think he can run that division.
Dude, he hasn't fought at 140 in forever, bro. He's been at 142 and 143.
He always fights at 144. Yeah.
Yeah, Barrios might as well move up to 147.
Mm-hmm.
Vergil don't know because he's 5'11", but he started at 122 and 126. When he used to fight at the Cowboy Hall in San Antonio early in his career, he was a 122 and a 126 pounder. So he's come all the way up to 140.
Yeah, but he was also a young guy that like grew really fast. You know, like Canelo used to fight at 147. For God's sake, imagine that.
Yeah, he was also like 15 years old when he turned pro.
But imagine like meeting a new fan of the sport right now that just saw like Canelo, Daniel Jacobs, and like Canelo, Rocky Fielding, and then like Canelo, Sergey Kovalev's the fight being talked about, and you go, hey, the dude fought Matthew Hatton at 147 for like his big breakout performance before Mayweather. They'd be like, no, you're joking. Yeah. That's not possible.
It was, yeah. And you still don't think he's on steroids, right, Matt? Canelo's clean?
Yeah. Well, I mean, do I think he's clean? I think most fighters aren't clean. Do I care? No, I definitely don't care. I'll put it that way. Do I care if he's clean or not? No, I do not care if he's clean or not.
Okay. But you think that there's certainly a chance.
A high possibility.
A good chance.
A high possibility, yeah.
Okay.
With any high-level athlete, there's a high possibility that they're using something.
Completely agree. Billy Joe is going to stay at 68, it looks like.
I don't think it's been specified. It has not been specified what he really wants to do. I think the fight that's been talked about the most is Callum Smith. That's the fight that he's been linked with this news the most. So I think in at least the short term, 168 is what he's looking at. He has a belt there right now, so I think he will hold down there for a while, at least. Maybe a couple years at least.
Regular there, right?
No, he has a WBO. WBO. Gilberto Ramirez moved up, vacated, and obviously Billy Joe Saunders, who's the WBO champion in the lower weight class, moved up, and boom, fought for the vacant belt.
Okay, yeah, I guess I'll set 68 then. This is a good fight at 68. Boy, I would love a unification fight with Caleb Plant. That'd be fun.
I agree. It might not be really fun, but it would be highly intriguing.
Well, yeah. I mean, it might not be fun for the average casual fan. It might be torture for them, honestly. But as far as a boxing match, that's the sweet spot to its highest level right there.
Gary, I apologize again, but I'm going to have to mute you. We have breaking news from Thomas Hauser per the Dylan White story. So I'll go back to you about this, okay? And Phil, why do people trust Hauser? Because Hauser was the first whistleblower on USADA with Mayweather. That's why. Phil. I would look up his article on the USADA case with Mayweather. Phil.
I did.
And that's why people trust him. Moving on to this letter, let's read it. And let's get some dramatic music. Right, Rob? Yeah? Okay. You look tired. Let's spice you up a little bit. I know it's late. I'm sorry. And I'm going to read this article, and I have no idea what it says. I haven't read a single part of it yet.
It's better be spicy to spice me up.
Right? Like, I haven't read it yet. I hope it's a really good breaking news story. Otherwise, come on, Hauser. But yes, Hauser is one of the most trusted reporters. And honestly, the really only investigative journalist in boxing, Phil. Okay, I saw you commenting in the live chat.
Yeah, his article has got some kind of lawsuit with boxing scene or whatever going on. But anyway,
I haven't heard of any lawsuit being filed. Have you?
Keith Idek seemed to be. I don't want to talk about it. Seeing what's happening with our website at the moment.
Yeah, but you didn't say anything was filed. I'm just saying.
Just kind of what it means, though. I guess.
Jim Leahy apparently is not cued in on what Dylan White's case really is. Has been watching too many other YouTube channels. Saying he thought the B sample cleared him. I thought Dylan White was cleared of the doping allegations. No, B sample has not been tested yet.
Sample B.
Nevada is not the B sample.
Nevada is not a B sample. It's a separate testing agency completely. Secondly, he was cleared to fight. He was allowed to fight. His case is not closed, as far as we know, with UCAD, and therefore he is not cleared officially. And the B sample, as far as we know, has not been tested. But back to dramatic reasoning, Thomas Hauser, yes. Letters from Team Rivas' lawyers might foretell lawsuit by Thomas Hauser. Again, I haven't read a single part of this. I have no idea what this is. Boxing Scene has learned that group Yavon Mitchell has retained UK counsel on behalf of Oscar Rivas and itself to explore the possibility of a lawsuit against Matchroom Boxing. Dylan White, UCAD, and the British Boxing Board of Control. Matchroom Boxing is Eddie Hearn's promotional company that promoted White's 20th fight against Ruiz in London. On July 24th and 25th, the boxing scene reported that an A sample taken from White by UCAD tested positive for small amounts of epimethadone and hydroxylmethadone, two metabolites of the banned drug Dianabol. Boxing scene further reported that the BBC was advised of the positive test result by UCAD prior to White's 20th fight against Ruiz, but allowed to fight to proceed without notifying Ruiz or his promoter Yavon Mitchell of the finding. Hearn has acknowledged that he was aware of the positive test result prior to the fight, but he says that he was not allowed to share this information with the Ruiz camp because of the confidential nature of the drug testing process, and that White was cleared to fight by UCAD appeals panel and the BBC. In an interview posted on Boxing UK on July 31st, Hearn was asked, "Is this relationship okay with Jan von Mitchell?" I don't think he's happy with the process. Hearn was asked, "Is the relationship okay with Jan von Mitchell?" I don't think he's happy with the process, but I think he's happy with the way I handled the procedure. That might be optimistic thinking on Hearn's part, writes Thomas Hauser. On August 9th, Stephen Taylor Heath of JMW Solicitors, a law firm with offices in London, Manchester, and Liverpool, sent letters on behalf of Group Yavon Mitchell and Ruiz to Matchroom, White, UCAD, and the British Boxing Board of Control. These letters are not claim letters, but they ask for information that might be relevant to a legal claim. In the UK, litigation is likely to start with a letter of complaint in the form of a lawyer's letter setting out of the nature of the complaint, including the damage suffered. 2, a request of any further information which would be required to substantiate the claim, and 3, a request for a response within 14 days. White has denied any wrongdoing in the matter. On July 26, he posted a statement on social media that read, "I am so disappointed with the rubbish that has been said about me over the last few days. I have lawyers dealing with it. I've been told that I can't talk about it for good legal reasons. I was clear to fight, and I won that fight fair and square. Possible causes of action relevant to the information sought by Group Yavon Mitchell and Ruiz vary with regard to each potential defendant. For example, it might be alleged that Matchroom breached a contractual duty of care that is owed to White and owed to Ruiz and failed to disclose material facts. White, on the other hand, did not owe Ruiz a duty of care. But on the other legal responsibilities with regard to the fight, a lawsuit with Group Yavon Mitchell and Ruiz might also explore the question of how many other times, if any, the British Boxing Board of Control has allowed a boxer to compete after a positive drug test without notifying the opposing fighter's camp of the positive test result. If you want to email Thomas Hauser, thomashauserwriter@gmail.com. And I do recommend probably checking out his next book coming out, A Dangerous Journey, Another Year Inside Boxing. But what?
You just literally read the whole page.
Because I didn't read any of it, so I didn't know what was hidden in it. Not hidden, but
you even read his own advert for his own book.
Hey man, I didn't know what was going to be said. I wanted to make sure everything was covered, and I didn't leave anything that was buried. Because we kind of did that when the breaking news stuff came. I didn't read the full thing. We kind of left parts out. But it looks like Ruiz and his team have obviously hired a lawyer to send a letter to obviously the parties mentioned to sort of get information to potentially look into what they can do in terms of a lawsuit. Guys, any thoughts? I will say that this is probably to be expected at this point. And interesting that it would just be interesting to see how far this process goes, I will say. I'll leave it at that. Rob, Fu, any comment?
Yeah, without all the information, can't really comment, can we? I guess maybe this was expected. So, again, much like the actual case itself, can't really cast judgment or speculate, I guess. But we've just got no information on sort of any of it other than what we apparently do know at the moment. But it's all...
But not speaking for the White case in terms of his innocence or...
I'm saying this is like that. It's like...
No. I know what I'm saying is not speaking for that. This is just purely talking about the procedure of where we're heading. This is a key step in where this is going. But it's a key step of 1,000 key steps of a very long process. So
yeah, for sure.
Expect a lot more of these sort of breaking news. Like, hey, a letter's been sent. Hey, this person is hired this lawyer. You know, it's going to be sort of that news for a period of time before I think we actually get into a court situation. Fu.
Kind of sounds like they're just asking for more information on the process. What's kind of like if the process was followed. I'm sure as soon as the process was followed, and from what everyone's saying, there is confidentiality agreements that I think it's a stupid process. Let me start off by saying this is a multifaceted argument. Okay. One, I think the process is stupid. I think that
process being
the BBBOC.
I know what you meant. Just
process completely wrong. Everyone involved should know what's going on, but currently there could be legal ramifications for anyone who left any of that information and left from the meetings and put that information public. And in terms of like an Eddie Hearn or a White or anyone else on the team, if they came out and told Ruiz's team, Eddie could be sued by other people because of confidentiality agreements. I understand this well because I've been in positions where, for instance, as like a district manager, you're letting a rep, like an employee go. Like you can't even sometimes tell the employee why they're being let go because you open yourself up to the company being litigated against, right? Mm-hmm. So this is a very tough argument for anyone to make. And I think Ruiz is right to want to know what's going on and right to be upset if there was a sample that failed, which there obviously was, but there's not a B sample now, I guess, yet. So I think they're right to ask questions. I don't think everyone's right to automatically assume any other promoter or any other country handles these things differently. I would imagine that in a lot of areas, there's going to be things that are covered up or just not out. Like obviously whatever he tested for, and like you've made a good point before, Matt, that like you would have had to test, I think at a certain point for VADA to catch the same thing that you had,
yeah, like
right?
It would have to be the same day.
So,
it would literally have to be within the same 24 hours.
So there's all these instances, but then you have the other stuff where how does a fighter who's supposed to be tested go to an event for the organization that they fight for, but the testing agency doesn't know? And so to me, it's like there are so many degrees with drug testing where people bypass and kind of work around the system that, like you said before, they're probably all in some way a cheat somewhere down the line.
Well, it's not about even necessarily loopholes, just pure funding. Like at the end of the day, like it really comes down to pure funding.
That's it. The whole thing is flawed. It's not financially viable. There isn't enough, I guess, like boots on the ground to even go and collect all this data and tests. You mentioned you understand that Team Rivas want answers, but it seems legally they're not allowed answers. I don't know how this is going to get resolved.
At least not until
I mean, House's only point to that was because, like you said, like in terms of UCAD and BBC, they followed guidelines, so it'd be very hard to sue them and win. But Eddie Hearn does have a sort of ethical sort of obligation as a promoter, and he could be in breach of contract of that ethical obligation. Right. Now, I don't know how successful that is at actually winning that style of a lawsuit, but I think that was probably the only way he could really go down is like, Eddie Hearn, you're promoting this event. You have an obligation to let me know, even though I'm not your promoted fighter. But
ask yourselves, why was he cleared to fight?
Oh, Rob. It was like a scene out of A Few Good Men or something.
And then somewhere that stupid idiot on Counter Punch Boxing or whatever comes out and goes, "Oh, because the VADA test is the B sample." Fucking idiot. But anyways,
you need me on that wall.
But to Fu's point about the procedure and that being wrong, that always needs to be stated because this procedure is not normal in the U.S. It is not. There's no confidentiality clauses like that in these commission rules. Period.
Yeah, but no testing, so.
But again, it's the same thing with here. I mean, how many tests did UCAD have?
Yeah, I mean,
they just got lucky. Like, and we talked about this, I think, on championship rounds, right, Rob?
Definitely hit and miss.
No. But sorry, just to connect my point, Rob, we talked about this on championship rounds, right? About the big safety net, right? Right,
with big holes in it.
Yeah, big holes, right? Like the current paradigm of PED testing is that we test everyone randomly, right? And we test the users. So we test all the users randomly. And the amount of funds that are allotted to that is very little for the amount of athletes that are in that testing pool. So that's why, similar to the clean boxing program, but that issue is the same issue with the IOC and WADA. It's the same issue everywhere because the testing pool is far too wide and far too large for the amount of funding they have. So it's like casting a giant net in the ocean trying to catch fish, and it's just a square. That's literally what it is. And a better drug testing paradigm or PD testing paradigm would be to go after the producers, the suppliers, the manufacturers, because that's when you will cut down on usage. Because these guys don't get tested enough, even in the UK. I know that was a long time talking point. Oh, UCAD tests everyone. They test everyone all year, so therefore it's a better program. But we know that there is problems with that program still. So therefore, the current paradigm is the issue. The current procedures is the issue. Regardless of Dylan White being innocent or not, I could care less at this point in time what Dylan White takes and what he doesn't take and whether it can be proved or not. I don't care. The system to its core, to its foundations, is faulty. It is designed not to be successful, to not actually crack down on large-scale PD use, because it doesn't go after large-scale PD production. But that's really all I have to say about this, because, again, I know whenever this case is going to get brought up, fans of the sport are going to draw into, White being innocent or not, when that really should not be the topic of conversation. Because White, regardless of him being innocent or not, is going to get off in a couple of years regardless and still fight and still make millions, and no one's going to care. Look at Tyson Fury. Look at half of the heavyweight division, for God's sake. Half of them have tested positive for PEDs at one point or another. Anyways, guys, any further points? Or want me to go back to Gary? Sorry, Gary.
No, I mean,
let's wrap up this show then. Gary. What's up, Gary? We're going to let you burn for a bit because it's late. Rob is tired. It's past midnight for him. So rant about whatever you want and let us know when you're done. We're going to take off.
Oh, good. I'm just glad you didn't ask me any questions about that because I felt like I was in college again and they're having a classroom discussion. I didn't do any of the reading. I'm like, please don't call on me. Please don't call on me because I have no idea what y'all are talking about. So I understood about 10 words of what you just said there. I felt like I was in a physics symposium with people all a lot smarter than me. Like, I don't know what's going on in this conversation. No, I don't have any thoughts on that. I mean, that's sounds
fine.
Like mostly lawyer jargon that they'll figure out. Is that fight going to be changed to a no contest? Or is that not going to happen?
If it comes out through this process and he gets found to be guilty through UCAD, then potentially, yeah. But that would have to happen.
Okay. And then real quick, if Tanahara fought Ryan Garcia next, later this year, who would you pick to win that fight?
Ryan Garcia, actually. I know that's shocking. I know that's shocking. I know that's shocking, but I would.
I think Tanahara could outbox him and outmove him.
Potentially. Fu, Rob? Ryan Garcia versus Tanahara.
I kind of want anyone who fights Ryan Garcia to fuck him up, to be honest. It's just knock a little bit of the cockiness out of him. Get him down to the real grind, the hard work, and just slap him humble a bit.
Yeah, I don't know. I would take Garcia in that fight, but Garcia is obviously a very flawed fighter as well. So,
as well as in,
I don't see those
Vergil.
flaws in Tanahara. The only thing I see is he has no pop. Like that's the only thing I see. Like the only problem he has.
I see Jesse Vargas.
Like, which is pretty good. Like Jesse
It is.
Vargas,
It's pretty good.
if you can shrink Jesse Vargas down to 135, he'd beat the hell out of Ryan Garcia.
No, but I see a true 135-pounder Jesse Vargas. So like that.
Right.
Is a guy that doesn't have a lot of pop, kind of average and everything.
Yeah.
Not a great athlete.
knocked out Saddam Ali.
Did almost knocked out Bradley too. Many people thought he did knock out Bradley.
He didn't. I was there.
But that's I don't. I was watching it on TV. I thought the ref waved the fight off. I thought it would have been a premature stoppage, but I did think that the ref waved the fight off. That's my last thing was Oscar De La Hoya was not in the building yesterday.
Yep.
Do any of you think he knows how good Vergil Ortiz is, and does he care?
I think the second question is far more important than the first one. Does he care? No.
Not at the moment.
Nope.
Other burning issues.
I'll be honest. I don't think it was him tweeting. Like, I'll say that. I have no actual evidence of that. Pure speculation. But I don't think that was him tweeting out 3 times last night. I don't think he gives 2. I don't think he watched the card.
Let me check his IG.
Has he seen Vergil Ortiz fight yet?
Maybe. He had to, because Vergil Ortiz must have been on a Canelo card at some point. And Oscar does.
Yeah, he has been. He's on the last one.
Yeah, and Oscar does sort of make the occasional trip to a Canelo fight, but not Canelo Mayweather. Not the biggest fight of Canelo's career.
Not the biggest fight ever at that point, right?
Yeah.
I didn't go to that one. That wasn't that important.
You know.
Yeah. All right, that's all I got, guys.
Thank you for the call, Gary. Guys, that's it for today, man.
Thank God.
Rob, you tired?
Yeah, a little. Let me just check.
Past your
Oscar
bedtime.
IG, because last time, who was it for? He was actually watching. Oh, I think it was when Cantio was fighting. I think, was it that one? And he was on his IG, showed himself watching it on TV. Like, oh, where'd he go?
He's like, see, guys, I really do watch boxing.
Yeah.
God damn it, Oscar. But anyways,
it's like
guys.
when your girl puts a tracker on your phone or something. Like, see, I really am at the gym.
Eric Gomez needs to do that. Put a tracker in Oscar's phone, honestly.
Right. Rob,
you're about to say something?
I was going to say hit that thumbs up, share the show. I'll catch you on the next one. UK Rob, MCR, Instagram and Twitter.
Phil?
Yeah, same. Catch me everywhere. Fugati MCR. Thanks for this super chat. Leighton, right?
Yeah, I think. I'm not going to try to pronounce that properly.
Yeah, you say Leighton.
Yep.
Sure.
Thanks for being here, everyone. And for the healthy discussion in the chat. It was good. Everybody's got their sides.
Obviously, find me, Matt Hunter, MCR, all platforms. Hit the like button, share the show, subscribe, patreon.com/Mixed Combat Radio. And let me know in the comment section down below who won that round, me or Fu. And it's a clear 10-8 round for me. Digressing from that point.
Probably a 10-7.
Shout out to the 1,702 subscribers of the channel.
And 2.
Yeah.
We're getting more subs by not doing shows than we are when we do them. Figure that out. All right, but we'll work harder on not doing regular shows. No, I don't know, but yeah, shout out to everybody. Appreciate it.
Peace.
Later.
Are you off your tits? Have you been smoking something?
Stay off the weed. That's stupid. Use your common sense.
That's fucking illegal.
Everybody's on steroids. The whole UFC, everybody.
Hey, pussy, are you still there?